Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Uncertainty, self-doubt, stressing about not knowing where to start. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Word art. Sorry, live, laugh, lovers. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week in Anniston, Alabama, we look at one of the most twisted, strange tales we've ever told, involving mysterious illnesses, suddenly appearing twin sisters, and an absolutely unbelievable explanation to it all. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us once again. If it's your first time, you have chosen wisely, not only to listen to the show, but to listen to this week's episode of the show, because I have to tell you, this is one that I've had for a couple years, just sitting there waiting to tell. And it's Anniston, Alabama. We were there once before, so you're not going to have to hear stats this time because we did that once before. But there's other stuff to talk about. Don't worry. That's how crazy this murder is that we are going back to a town we've done before, which we've never done before. That's how nuts it is. First of all, thank you, everybody, for your reviews this week. They help a lot. Apple Podcasts, if you haven't done it yet, please give us 5 stars on that purple icon.
Right.
We don't know why it helps, but it does. So thank you. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder. Listen to Crime and Sports if you haven't. This week it was Charles Barkley. So I know you've heard of him. And it was a wild tale, a good first episode to get the kind of the rhythm of the show. It's a good time. Check that out. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie this week, where we talk about bad romantic comedies. Also, if you would like to be a contributor to the show, of course, if you want to be a producer, you can do that very easily, and you get lots of stuff for that as well. Bonus stuff, and there's tons of bonus stuff up there. Last bonus episode for Small Town Murder was that we talked about Chris Watts and that documentary, that whole mess. This time, we are going to talk about crazy murders that happened on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving family insanity we're going to talk about.
Okay. I can see it happening.
Oh, it happens so much. You have no idea.
I've seen a YouTube video of a guy throwing a turkey at his dad.
Oh, this is going to be people snapping on Thanksgiving.
Right.
Sometimes it's a plan. Sometimes it's just I think I need to kill everyone because
had enough.
I've had enough, and also the Cowboys lost today or whatever it is. I don't know.
Lions.
They lose their mind, and that's how it works. I'm not sure. So do that, and even the Crime and Sports bonus episode is backstory on the I-5 killer, Randall Woodfield, who was a Crime and Sports actually an episode, and we're going to do a lot more backstory on him and how he got started and stuff like that. So that is a name serial killer, so you should be interested in that. That and a ton more over at patreon.com/crime and sports. Anybody over the $5 level will get all of that, and Jimmy will mispronounce your name. If you just want good karma and also to get your name mispronounced and be a producer and feel good about that, you can do that over at PayPal as well using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. Quickly, the disclaimer, this is a comedy show.
It is.
Comedy podcast. The facts are, we wish they weren't real, but they are. We wish none of this stuff happened, but it does. That's
very
why,
unfortunate.
Whether we talk about it or not, it's still going to keep happening. That's the thing. So, we're gonna do. We're comedians. That's what we do. We're gonna talk about small towns. We'll joke about that. We'll joke about a police force who messed something up. We'll make fun of murderers. Absolutely. That's what we do. What we try not to do, what we go out of our way not to do, is we try not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Tell me why.
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
That's
Jimmy.
it.
That's how it works. It's good stuff, so buckle up and have fun if that sounds good to you. If not, true crime and comedy should never, ever go together for you. Maybe it's not for you. Or maybe it is. You give it a shot, but don't complain later because you know
may not even know.
There's jokes coming, so watch out for that. And everybody else wants to have a good time and hear one of the craziest stories we've ever heard. I think it's time to sit back, clear the lungs, and shout, "Shut up and give me murder!" Let's do this, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let's go on a trip.
Okay.
We're going from Massachusetts, where we were last week.
Distance up there.
Up there in the Northeast. We're heading down south again. Can't get much more different than Alabama and Massachusetts, I would say.
Polar opposite.
It's, I think Venus and Jupiter are probably more similar. Because I've been to both, and they're very different. So, Anniston, as you know, we've done before. We did Anniston, episode 21, was an Anniston, Alabama case, and it was funny because we got some... a
little bit of hate mail?
Some pushback, not hate mail, hate press on that from an actual publication in Anniston, Alabama.
Chose to publish an article about it.
That, really had a little snarkiness to it, they don't know the real Anniston type of thing. And it was like, listen, motherfucker, there's a reason why no one knows the real Anniston. Only you.
Your town isn't beautiful and named after Jen. Shut the fuck up.
And if you weren't a provincial dipshit that never left near 5 feet from where he was fucking born, you'd probably know that shit.
If every girl there doesn't look like Jen Aniston, I don't want to hear it.
That's what I mean. Or was that, it was Reese Witherspoon, Sweet Home Alabama.
No, because of the last name. Same
Anniston,
thing.
Alabama. For some reason, I went to the... It's from P.S. I Hate This Movie. I've had to watch all these romantic comedies. They're bored into my fucking brain now. Great. So, they had a little bit of an issue in Anniston, Alabama. So, but we took it in stride. We laughed about it, and we sent him a cheer up bitch shirt.
Yes, we did.
So that was our way.
Cheer it right on up.
That was our way of taking that. So this quick refresher, it's in northeastern Alabama. It's the nickname of the town is the Model City.
Oh.
Which, once we tell you about the town, this is a model gone wrong. This is a model where someone tried to build it, and they put the glue on too early, and now there's things out of place.
They just mean it's like the clay before you do anything with it.
It's a lump of something. I don't know if clay is the word I'm looking for, but it's a lump of something.
It's mushy.
Yeah, since we already did the town, listen to episode 21 for the standard stats. We'll still do real estate report, and I'm going to catch up on like the income now and stuff like that, population, but none of the in between stats. History too. We did a long history on it in the first episode.
We did.
We'll just recall, in case for a refresh your memory, racist history.
Yeah.
Bad shit in the early 60s, and don't drink the water because the town is just loaded with PCBs. And it's toxic.
It's bad shit.
Everything in the town is toxic.
Stays in your body forever.
Watch out for that. 60 Minutes did a piece on it. Monsanto basically salted the earth for 45 years before they finally stopped it, and you can't get rid of those PCBs. So
they don't go away.
It's not good. I found some reviews of the town. Mm-hmm. We give a certain view based on what we read, and we don't go to the towns to know. We'll walk around and go, actually, that little restaurant's not bad, and Chet's a pretty good waiter. Like, we don't get to do that. So let's do some reviews and let other people tell you about the town. Here's a review here. It's a 2-star review. Unimpressed.
Not happy.
Pretty much. The weird thing is, like, some of the 2-star reviews were pretty good. It was like,
really?
Sort of okay. You think like a 3-4, but 2 stars.
They recognize that it's a piece of shit. It's just not that bad.
It's weird. So 2 stars. Quote, it has a lot of bad and not enough good. What is this? Petifum? Petifum? I don't know. Petiifm.
Never.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
seems like a misspelling there. Misfire on their part.
Smidge drunk.
Yeah.
Petifum. Speak to text. That's what it is.
Petifum. It has no sparkle. And my only reason for even staying was that I loved the people there. Spelled Their, the less popular spelling of over there.
You rarely switch those two.
Those two you never switch. Now, I see it the other way with people, but that is you
don't substitute that one for that one.
The Anniston education system is special. We'll just put it that way. They're doing a good job. But the bad outweighs the good, so there can be no better, more answered. So there can be no better, more answered.
Oh, boy.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I want to meet them.
I hope you're either from another country or you've had like a shitload of like corn mash whiskey tonight or whatever
your own moonshine.
You're drinking down there.
You've really
yeah.
been hammering it. Petifum.
Hard. Petifum. It has no sparkle. Think about this. I'll read it exactly as it's written. Okay? It has a lot of bad, not enough good. No comma.
Yeah.
A lot of bad, not enough good. Petifilm, it has no sparkle. And my only reason for staying is I love the people there. I said it wrong because it's...
Yeah.
But the bad outweighs the good. So there can be no more better answer.
That's exactly how it was intended.
Right? Mm-hmm.
You betcha.
Where am I again? Oh, this is Anniston.
Yeah.
Put that down. All right. 2 stars. Next one. This one's a little more coherent anyway. 2 stars. Quote, very poor. Town is full of thrift stores, rehabilitation centers, high crime, and unemployed. Corruption in the judicial system, high academic standards held to middle and high school pupils. Anniston, Alabama is in need of a reseeding, replacing the revaluation of all city and county workers, seeing the city thoroughly investigated by state and federal officials. Oh. Holy shit. This city, we'll talk about it in the crime rate when we do that at the end, it's one of the highest. The FBI listed as in the top 5 of small town crime rates.
Really?
It's like this. Selma's up there, a couple other that are just absolutely not great in terms of crime rate.
All around.
And a lot of corruption, and it's just, there's a lot going on here that's not great.
The money's supposed to be going somewhere. It doesn't, therefore that all is ruined, and you got an asshole.
And someone will write an article complaining because we brought it up.
Right.
Sorry for bringing it up.
These 2 assholes in Arizona are pointing out our shit.
How dare they point out the corruption? So what?
We're working on it.
That's what we do. God damn it. 2 stars. Anniston has a high rate of crime. We need more honest police officers, and the schools need to be fixed. Schools is the apostrophe S.
Oh boy.
But that's okay. At least it sounds right. Anyway.
And also they're right.
Yeah. Also,
they need to be fixed.
And that too. Yeah. The point is still taken.
It's extra taken.
It's a living example, really. Right. So it makes it better. Thank you for that. You know, maybe they're just putting themselves out there. See, look what I don't even know that's wrong.
This review is like the Constitution. It is a living, breathing thing.
That's what it is, man. I have lived in Anniston about 10 years, and it's hard to find an affordable, decent place to live. Now, decent maybe, but affordable, everything here is affordable.
Really?
We'll talk about this. Is one of the cheapest towns we've ever been in for real estate. And finally, 2 stars. This person has I like the long ones where they're pissed. They sat down to let fly over here.
Some thoughts.
Here we go. 2 stars. I've lived in Anniston, Alabama for about 8 years. If you like church and college football, then you will fit right in, but that's all they do and talk about. They have zero nightlife and everything closes early. The food here is absolutely horrendous. They only have very greasy barbecue that isn't even very good. The ribs have way too much fat on them, and the pork is poor quality meat. You go to one place and I don't like the ribs there. This town sucks.
Well, that's all everybody
Greasy
serves.
ass fucking ribs. Make your own food. They undercook everything from eggs and toast to pizza. So is like a policy in the town.
Yeah.
The council passed this. Thou shalt not cook things to temperature. They do not, by the way, and this is all capital letters, understand sarcasm at all.
Okay.
We know. We know.
That is true.
We get that.
Very true.
Very true. There's an edge to some people in some small towns that, and we're not saying Anniston's one of them, although, honestly, they're the only ones where some, like I said, provincial fuck dick wrote a goddamn article because they were so offended by us reading statistics and the fact that your goddamn town is poison. You can't drink the fucking water. Sorry. Sorry.
They'd get out if they could catch a deep breath, though.
60 Minutes brought it up, not us. We just, brought it on our audience. Sorry about that. So, we get it. We've been to some of these places where their sarcasm isn't a real big thing. They don't get it. They look at you like you're
just being an asshole.
Yeah, and that's Arizona's like that too. To be honest with you, you have to you have to pick and choose your battles.
A lot of specialty. Special directed anger, and it's usually around humor. Why are you being? What's so funny to you? Why everything a goddamn joke?
Yeah.
Well, yes,
kind of. Yeah.
And if it's not, then this fucking place sucks. So why don't you have some?
Hopefully, or else I am going to be really poor for a long time. I'm going to die in the streets starving. Really, that's all I have.
And these are the best ones I've got.
That's the other thing. This is all I got. So this is all I got, and it's all I have. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So they do not understand sarcasm at all. He has a theory, though. I think that is due to poor education because the public schools are terrible.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Additionally, people do not understand the rules of driving. Okay. They will not switch lanes to allow you to merge. They do not know who has the right of way, and they do not yield to oncoming traffic. People also do not worry about the needs of others. If you go to a grocery store and try to go down an aisle, if someone is in your way, they will not care at all.
Well, I would like to remind this guy that if you're getting on the on-ramp, they have the right of way.
Yeah.
So you slow down or speed up, motherfucker.
Yeah. But there's still a certain, you know what I mean? There's a certain
you get
etiquette.
over it to let them on. That's true.
Yeah, there's a certain.
I do have the right of way if I'm on the fucking freeway.
A lot of times, too, I've noticed this. Sometimes rural areas, people will be extra friendly.
Yeah.
And sometimes rural areas, they're not, it's almost like they're not used to having anybody around them, so they're really not friendly like that. Like, they don't.
Well, you think you're the only one on the road?
Well, they don't.
Yeah, this is my town.
They don't understand social things because there's just not enough people around to understand social things. You're not put in that situation enough. That's rare. I'm not saying that's this because this isn't a town of like 300 people. There's enough people here. I'm not making excuses for these people. They might just be assholes. I'm not sure. So people, speaking of them, 22,097 the population is up to.
That's a lot.
It's declining. It's been in decline since the 80s.
Okay.
I think it's really sharply since about 2000, right about when that 60 Minutes piece came out. We brought that up on the first episode. Shocking.
Yeah.
People were like,
Weird when you find out.
Weird.
Aaron Brockovich had just come out fairly recently, too.
Shit's poison.
Right.
Maybe we should leave.
Maybe we should call that woman and get the fuck out of here.
What the fuck did Stone Phillips just say? No, he wasn't on. He was on Dateline.
Charlie Rose? No.
What the fuck did Hugh Downs just tell me? I think he was 60 Minutes, right? I don't remember.
No.
I'm not old enough to watch 60 Minutes.
No.
Sorry, I never was.
I don't recall who's on it.
Yeah, I remember everyone was 100 when I was a kid.
I think Barbara Walters used
to interview everybody. Yeah. She was the interviewer.
Right.
And then I think Hugh Downs was the old guy in the beginning. I'm Hugh Downs.
Right. Welcome to 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
We're about to tell you all the awful shit in the world for the next hour.
Here it is.
Buckle up.
Quickly, unemployment rate is high in this town. Household income is low. $57,500 is about the usual. Here it's $32,000 median household income. Very low. Wow. Cost of living is $100 is regular average. Here it is $77. but the housing is a 41.
Perfect.
Median home cost $94,900.
Very affordable.
Excessively low. And if we've convinced you, damn it, the only place for you is Anniston, Alabama. You don't care about the poison water. You don't care about any of it. You're ready to make a commitment. We have for you the Anniston, Alabama Real Estate Report. All right, here we go. All right, found some houses here. Okay. Pieces of shit. Never mind renting. You're not renting here.
No.
These houses are so cheap if you're renting. What do you... Get your shit together.
What happened to you?
Yeah, get your shit together. Get a gas station credit card for 2 months and you can buy one of these houses. Your credit will be good enough. I'm telling you. Trust me, from a guy who's had problems. Believe me. So, Anniston, Alabama, I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,889 square feet. So not bad.
Good size house.
Good size house. Outside, I mean, it's clean, but it's like a light, like Pepto-Bismol pink.
Oh no,
with red shutters.
It used to be dark pink.
You got to worry about that.
Yeah.
40
red shutters.
Red shutters on the pink.
Wow.
$49,000 though.
Deal.
So I mean, you can paint your goddamn shutters for $49,000. Then I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. 2,124 square feet. So again, a pretty decent size house. That's a good house we got a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Some room for them. Decent inside, decent house. $52,500.
That is unbelievable.
So, yeah, because it's toxic. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But still, then I found, let's say you ran the PCB plant.
Yeah.
You have poisoned everyone and have benefited greatly from it. I found a 6-bedroom, 6-bath T-bowl for every beehole, and every beehole, 8,555 square feet.
What?
Huge, sick house, 31.64 acres around it.
That's so much Alabama.
Insane.
Yeah.
$975,000.
$1 million.
Under $1 million.
Wow.
What would that be in, Paradise Valley or Scottsdale or so? That would be...
For that many acres?
I don't know. $21 million that would be.
And then you'd parcel the land, develop it, and then sell each house and be a billionaire.
$4 million each. Yeah, this is $975 for an insane, ridiculous... That's a ridiculous...
Yeah.
That's
showing your Alabama dick right there.
Yeah, that's like you were, I don't know who lives there. Nick Saban would live there. You'd have to be a retired NFL player or some shit. 8,000. Who the hell has an 8,500 square foot house? That's ridiculous. How much house do you need?
That's the governor, right? Or something?
I don't know. Like I said, it's got to be the college football coach.
Somebody, that's very... Why would you pick there to land?
In their contracts, you get you can choose any house in the state. You can just kick the family out.
Right.
They're happy to do it. They think of it as their patriotic Alabama honor. To leave for the Crimson Tide. It started with Bear Bryant back in the day. It's a tradition that's been going on for about 50 years now.
That's what they call the Tide roll when they roll your fucking Tide family right the fuck out.
But they're allowed to keep your daughter if they'd like for any purpose. That's the other thing too, sexual or otherwise. It's really fine. That's the law,
unless that tide's rolling.
And families go, "Come on, sweetie." Now Nick Saban said that you're cute, so you're gonna have to go. That's disgusting, but it's not us. It's Alabama. It's that's what happens there.
Nick's got COVID. James, he could die.
Of course he does. Wasn't he one of the people running around saying
probably.
There's no such thing as there?
Now everybody's got it and he's won.
Perfect. That's awful. I don't wish COVID on people.
But he's got it.
I also don't want him to have the pick of the children of the land. So
I think I'd rather he has COVID than that.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely. If the choice is he has COVID or he gets to have sexual interaction with little girls, I'm going to go with COVID every time. And then I really don't want him having any interaction with little girls, sexual or otherwise. Anyway, got a little too deep into that one.
We did.
Things to do in this town. Not a lot, as you might imagine, but I found some things to do. I found mainly this, the Anniston Family Heritage Festival and Music Concert. Now, we always get a little... worried, let's say.
Uneasy
when we hear the word heritage and Alabama in the same sentence.
And family.
You start to go, oh no, this could be bad.
Right.
But this isn't bad.
Really?
No, it's not one of those. It's not a heritage festival, in quotes, It's more like culture of everybody. Because Anniston, one thing about Anniston, it's not just a white southern town.
Right.
As we've talked, Anniston was, and we did it in the last episode, is more than half black.
Okay.
So it's pretty much black and white is everybody that lives there. But so it's very much mixed.
Celebrating community.
I guess so. Yeah. This was 2019's because it wasn't going on this year. They don't have acts booked for 2021 yet. So
good.
Have to go with 2019 schedule. And it says that fun in the park includes something for all ages, free kid zone, splash pad, which sounds disgusting, but I know what they're talking about.
They are disgusting.
Disgusting.
You'll get Giardia there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the where you get it. You get Giardelli's, too, which is just as bad. I love Giardelli's.
Yeah, it's good chocolate.
DJ Big Sweat.
Okay.
With 2 T's.
Yeah.
It's in June in Alabama, so everyone there is going to be Big Sweat. Whoever was DJing was going to be DJ Big Sweat.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Food vendors, come out with your lawn chairs and enjoy a day in the park with family and friends. Tents allowed in designated areas only. No personal grills allowed.
Okay.
You got to tell everyone
Keep that shit at home.
This isn't a fucking Auburn football game.
Right.
Calm down.
We get it. You make good hot dogs, too.
Yeah, it's fine. That's great. Keep your greasy, fatty ribs to yourself. Music on stage begins at 4 p.m., and then we get into the acts. Now, I took a picture of one of the, there's a couple of little lineups of the pictures, and I'm blown away by it because it doesn't feel like the same people would enjoy all of these acts. We'll put it that way. Well, Jimmy, I'm going to show you the picture.
Okay.
Do you think that the same people are enjoying him who enjoy them?
Who is that guy?
Okay. There's a guy on the left named Tim McDonald.
Stand in front of an American flag.
Stand in front of an American flag with a trucker hat on and a denim vest and a denim jacket, and he's waving in a... Somehow his wave is redneck.
It's very,
I don't even know how that is. But it's like, he's clearly, his name is Tim McDonald.
Yeah.
He's clearly singing country music.
Yeah.
He's not going up there
I don't think he's
with
doing
some sweet freestyle. Like,
Right.
that's not happening probably.
He's not hitting some Mos Def.
No, I see a guitar neck next to him too. He put his guitar down to wave. Like, obviously. And then he's at 4 p.m. Then at 5 p.m. is Pooh and Phase 2. And it's 6 black dudes. Some of them who look like preachers wearing like Steve Harvey suits.
Right.
And some of them just dressed normal, have like hats on and shit, like jeans and like regular clothes.
Yep.
I don't know what the fucking theme is here exactly between Pooh and Phase 2. They're all oddly photoshopped. Look how badly this guy's photoshopped out. His head's like lumpy.
Poor bastard.
From the Photoshop.
Yeah.
Like the guy who did it has a shaky hand when he went around his head.
He trimmed him terribly.
And it just looks terrible. And then Daybreak with 2 Ks after that, which is like, it looks like a gospel R&B group of like 60-year-old black people, right?
Yeah.
Like, the
Is
ladies
it all
up
women?
front. No, these are women here. It's a bald guy with a big beard, another bald guy. It's like 5 bald guys, Shaquille O'Neal apparently, with his hat on there, and like 3 women who seem to be the lead of the whole thing.
It's very interesting. And that's Daybreak.
That's
with
Daybreak.
2 Ks.
So if you sat there from 4 to 7, you'd see all 3 of those acts, which is a trip. I can't imagine anyone liking all of those.
It's all encompassing, unless you just really love Alabama and everything that it has to offer.
Maybe that's true. You're just loving all of the heritage and the culture.
It's everybody.
Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in, obviously. It's gotten worse since last time.
Okay.
And it's about the same, but it is a little bit worse, actually, statistically. Property crime over 3 times the national average.
Shit.
Very high on the property crime.
Wow.
But violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime. Property can't come close. Over 4 times the national average.
It is super
of violent crime. Yeah, that's why it's on the most dangerous cities list.
Wow.
And it's on like all the worst lists, like worst place to move, worst place to raise a family, worst place to do this, worst place to do that, worst place to drink a glass of water out of the tap. It's in a lot of worst lists.
Chemically, it's bad, but then
stuff.
You mix in the actual people that live there, and it's worse.
It's way worse. So, that said, let's talk about a murder. Okay?
That's why your property's so valueless.
Between the crime and the fact that everything is toxic, it's not a real attractive real estate market for people, to come to.
That makes sense why they couldn't just pool their money and get Sir Mix-a-Lot to play. They can't get anybody to play. They have to rely on local shit.
They got Tim McDonald.
Right.
They're like, have I heard of him? Probably not. His name sounds familiar, don't it?
McDonald's, he owns those restaurants?
Well,
no.
I don't know. I don't know shit about country.
Yeah.
I just know like what you like, hear real famous people or who's on the fucking Voice or whatever this time. I don't know anything about country music. So
I know that guy is nobody.
I don't know I don't even know who he. I just mean whoever they put on there.
Yeah.
So I saw Tim McDonald and I saw him and I'm like, is he real famous? Like I thought about him like Tim McDonald. That sounds.
You and everybody in the town had the same thought.
That sounds familiar. I think it's just a familiar.
Sounds like a country guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody could be in the top 10.
Oh, Tim McDonald.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh shit. I see him at the county fair.
Probably.
About 2 years ago, I think.
Opry McDonald, right?
Yeah.
I know I've seen him there.
I've seen him there. All right, now. So let's talk about a murder here. Now, this story takes place in the 1970s in rural Alabama. That's when the actual murder takes place and when the whole crux of the story is. Mid-1970s in rural Anniston, Alabama. So, like all murder stories that take place in rural Alabama in the 1970s, where do we start? Marlow, New Hampshire in 1983.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Marlow.
Marlow, New Hampshire, 1983.
Okay.
That's
on the west side of the state?
That's where we're going to see. Yeah, it's over by Vermont.
Okay, got it.
Over there. Okay, so very good.
I'm getting my geography down up there.
It's not bad. He knows Vermont, but yeah.
I don't know Vermont. I just know a little bit of New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, and yeah.
I see signs and freeways pointing that way, and I'm like, that seems like east.
He's still looking for oil property in Tallahassee, but he's...
I know where Marlow, fucking
knows
New
where
Hampshire
fucking Marlow is, though. So it starts in Marlow, New Hampshire, which makes no sense, but it will make perfect sense. In 1983 here. Now, there's a man named John Homan who lives there. Homan is his name. And basically, he was told that an FBI agent came to him and told him that his wife is in custody of the FBI. And this man said, quote, there must be some mistake. He said, no, you definitely, positively don't have my wife in custody because my wife, Robbie, died 3 months ago.
Oh.
So that would really be pretty amazing if she then committed crimes and you arrested her.
Right. I buried her.
Yeah, like, you can find her obituary. It's in the newspaper.
How'd you
Probably not
handcuff
her.
that bag of dust?
Yeah, I had her cremated, so I sprinkled her ashes over the lake behind my house. I don't know how you did that. It's amazing. It's incredible,
skim
sir.
in the water? What'd you do?
Sir, that's amazing. Wow. I don't know what this new police technology is. I've heard of the imaging when they find someone and they can recreate a face from a skull, but this is incredible.
You guys can suck dust out of a lake and reanimate it?
And put it into custody.
Unbelievable.
Incredible. Probably didn't happen,
right.
I would say. He said if you have someone in custody, that's probably not my wife. That's probably my wife's sister, her twin sister.
Oh.
So that would explain why you thought it was my wife. Mm-hmm. My sister's name is Terry. Her sister's name is Terry Martin, and my wife's name is Robbie. So, whatever. He said, but after my wife died, she came up to help me out, and she's been up here helping me out for the last couple months. So if you have anybody, I would assume that's who it is. And they said, yeah, okay, maybe. This is the FBI talking to the man. Says that's you're sort of wrong and you're sort of on the money at the same time. They said the person that we have is definitely your wife, but there's more to it than that.
Oh, no.
So let's talk about this. As a matter of fact, she's not your wife. And she's not her twin sister either. She's a completely different person. Okay?
And wait,
yeah. This isn't your wife that we have. It's not her twin sister either. It's somebody completely different than you thought it was. Who, by the way, isn't dead or a twin. She's a different person, and we have her in custody.
And that was his wife?
That was the woman he was married to.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that's how this story starts.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of this story.
How old is Homan?
Okay, 40 years old.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, he's not 20 he's 40. These women are in their 30s. These are adults, okay?
Dun, dun, dun.
Right away. Pardon?
Yeah. Executive producer Dick Wolf.
Dick Wolf, fuck that. Executive producer Aaron Sorkin. This is a soap opera, man. This is like if a soap opera started like this, you go, get the fuck out of here. You change the fucking, even if you watched it, you go, Young and the Restless has lost their goddamn minds. I'm changing the channel. Yeah, this is real. This happened, okay? Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So, now, let's leave that there. Marlow, New Hampshire, 1983. John Homan, what the fuck are you talking about?
Sweet Christ.
Sweet Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go and we'll talk about some other people. Okay, let's talk about some people. Let's talk about a man named Frank first. Yeah. Frank Hilley.
Yep.
Hilley. He is born in 1930. Frank Hilley. So in the 70s, he'll be in his 40s. He comes up and he lives in Hoyt, Alabama, and then lives in Anniston his whole adult life. Okay. And he's an employee of the Union Foundry Company.
All right.
He's a union man, a union foundry guy.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Union Foundry Company, but he's also a union Iron Man.
Yeah.
And he was in the Korean War.
Okay.
Conflict, whatever. He's in the Korean conflict. He's a member of the VFW.
Yep. He
goes on down to there and drinks and smokes and does his thing. And so, I mean, if you're not from America, not from the States, that's veterans of foreign wars.
That's what they do.
They go there and they drink cheap beer and somehow are still allowed to smoke in there.
Indoors.
While they're holding their oxygen tanks.
It's
amazing.
Private property.
Yep. Well,
so weird.
Every comedian has done a show in a VFW when they first started. I did it in my first 4 months of comedy.
Right.
Wild. Those old ladies in there are the best. Yeah. If you get them going with some dirty shit,
they are horny.
They're getting extra oxygen because they love it. That's hilarious.
It's very strange to be on stage telling a joke and then a puff of smoke goes into your face. You're just like, I can't believe this is still legal.
Oh, it's great.
This is
love
amazing.
It's
great.
It was
it's
great.
Just fucking weird because that doesn't happen in a comedy club anymore.
No, it's true.
Across the country outlaw.
Those goddamn ladies, though, they were just so fun. They were the funniest thing in the world because I remember I started my set and I did a couple jokes that I was trying to be because everyone in the room was over 65, so I was trying to be not myself.
Yeah.
And my they were good. First couple jokes, I said something off the cuff that was very filthy. I remember just out of the frustration, just for the comics to try to make myself feel better. And all the old ladies laughed. And I went, I said to them, you like dirty? Do you?
Oh, they do.
I said, let's talk. Let's chat, ladies. And I started going into it. And I'm like, these are my people. Love it. So
those are women that were married to guys like
that's
Frank.
what I mean. They were married. That's why they're there.
We treat them like they're precious and I don't know, have
fragile
shitloads of men. Right, fragile.
Yeah, they're not.
And they're not.
And they have oxygen tanks, but they're not fragile.
I'm tougher than you. I say dirtier shit.
Oh
than you.
yeah, they loved it. They fucking loved it. They didn't want to hear any corny shit.
Yeah.
They. By the way, we've talked. No, we'll talk about it after the show. But
that guy did terrible that night. I get it.
You know, he did the whole thing, and it was so funny. It was so funny, man. They just looked at him like he was.
He had 3 eyes.
Three heads, never mind eyes.
What the fuck is this guy?
So Frank Hilly. Frank is born in 1930, and like we said, lived in Anniston. He in 1951, when he's 21 years old, he meets a young lady who just graduated from high school, and from the Anniston area. And back then, you get married right away. This is 1951.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you were 20 and a lady, they were like, clock's ticking. Right. I mean, you're an old maid here.
Get yourself a house and buy a car with a man.
Yeah, you're supposed to be married off already. I mean, back then, and a guy, he's 21. It's like, you started looking for a wife yet or what, pal? Right. Jesus Christ, you're going to settle down?
Yeah.
The fuck are you doing? You're going to be all dried up by the time it's ready to go here. So he meets Audrey Marie Frazier, is the young lady. She goes by Marie, though. She never uses Audrey.
Yeah.
It's always Marie. She's born in 1933, and she's from this area. She is from the Blue Mountain area, which is kind of where Anniston encompasses in that area. And she grew up, I guess, where she is right by the Linen Thread Company, where that was. It's a big cotton mill with big brick buildings, and it's right in the center of town. Mm-hmm. That's the center of their town, is a cotton mill.
Good Lord.
Not the movie theater or some restaurants or City Hall or a park or something. It's
something nice to look at.
Cotton mill.
There it is.
Have
a gander at this.
This is what we're interested in here. So. She was the only. She grew up around here and trying to make her way. She was a student in Anniston High School and was just kind of. She wasn't like all by herself or anything like that, but she wasn't really part of a group or part of anything. She wasn't in any extracurriculars.
All right.
Like she wasn't a cheerleader, or she wasn't considered like this, or she wasn't on the debate team or anything like that. She just kind of
functional outcast.
Just kind of not even an outcast. She just kind of floats through.
Okay.
She's a pretty girl, but she's not like anything that people are knocked out by or anything. That's not to judge her. I'm just that's how she describes it as she grows up, and her people around her and her family.
Sure.
That she just wasn't a knockout or anything like that. She was just a kind of a normal girl, and again, high school, but nothing popular or unpopular. Nobody made fun of her, that sort of thing. So she's in this area. She wasn't that popular, like I said, though. That's the thing. Her mother and father would leave her with her grandmother for weeks at a time as a child, and this made her feel kind of unloved, I guess. And she told people that. She told her friends that, like, my parents don't even love me. They leave me for like a month. And
the rejection of that alone is fucking horrible.
Yeah, kids don't get that.
No.
And it's not like you could FaceTime with them back in the day and shit. I mean, they probably wouldn't even talk on the phone back then. They might. You want to write mom and dad a letter like that? That's as good as it got, I think.
Drop that shit in the mail?
Yeah, 1951. They're not going to pay long distance to Anniston. So she felt that her parents, and especially her mother, didn't love her, though. She had an issue with her mom big time. And a friend of hers, or a relative actually, named Frida Adcock, she'll come up later, she remembers that Marie would try to become friends with, for some reason, on the east side of town, there's a bunch of people with bigger houses. That's where like all the rich people live, the people who own and ran the mill, I guess. Mm-hmm. And she would try to make friends specifically with those kids who lived there. Uh-huh. Like she tried to make friends with all the rich kids for some reason. Like
maybe she's aiming at birthdays. Better
gifts, better parties, much better birthday parties, or just a place to go trick or treating. Maybe they give out full sizes over here on this side of town. It's Snickers time over on the east side. So they did that though. It was a weird that's a strange thing for a child to try to like socially climb.
Specifically,
as a kid, you don't give a shit about that.
No.
Like maybe that one kid has a ton of video games and he's a rich kid, so you want to hang out with him because he has video games.
Or he's got so much room that we ride dirt bikes in his backyard.
Yeah, but it's not because he's, it's not for any status as a child. We just want to ride a dirt bike.
Also, that kid's kind of, not for nothing, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah,
the
kid
kind
with
of
the dirt bike.
to hang out with.
Well, he's always an asshole because he knows that you want to ride his dirt bike.
Right.
So he's
that I don't have that, and that he can hold that over my. Fuck
exactly.
you, dude. I've also got weed. What do you have?
That's the thing.
A dirt bike.
I bring weed.
Even
Shove
swap. Fuck you.
I don't want your dirt bike. I'm stoned.
I'm only riding that. Yeah, I'm only riding that thing
your
for
dirt bike.
10 minutes in your backyard before we start taking bong rips.
This is stupid. So, strange though. Frida said it was weird, and it never amounted to anything either. She would make a little bit of friends, but she was never like in. Yeah. She could never get in with a group. That was her thing. Like she'd always try, and that was the rich kid group was the one she really tried to infiltrate, and just never really amounted to much. And so she graduates in 1951, and that's when she gets married right away to Frank. And his father was also a foundry worker. Okay. So, I mean, this is just, it's what his family does. And he makes pretty good money.
Sure.
Doing this is a good job. Yeah. I mean, he's lucky to have that job. Absolutely. To get out of high school and get in as a foundry worker. That's what everybody in a town like this wants in 1950, So, they get married very quickly. He has a job as an iron worker, like we said. And in 1953, they have a child already.
Jeez.
So this is the 50s, man. Yeah. This is what you do. First child is a son named Mike.
Yeah.
He comes out. They end up giving birth in 1960 to a daughter named Carol. And that is when she's pregnant with Carol, when she starts to kind of become a little bit different. Her relatives said she started acting a little bit strange around that time. During her second pregnancy. Okay. And I mean, a lot of people, if you're pregnant, there's a lot of stuff going on inside your body that, you can't always control what's happening sometimes. So, I mean, I hate to say it like that because it's almost like, what are you on your period or something? Right. But like, pregnant women are hormonal and emotional. They just are. They'll tell you that. Yeah. I'm all hormonal today. Get me this and that, and turn the air conditioning down to 58. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Who are you? You know what I mean? That's what happens. It's not their fault. They're just shit. I mean,
and then as a dude, as a father, you've got to sit there and look at this woman who's going through all these changes. And then in my head, I'm going, at some point, she's got to try to get a fucking baby out of
there's
her
that
body.
Too. So I guess
That's
I'll turn
crazy.
Shit, I guess I'll turn the air conditioning down to 58. Will that help?
Yeah.
Will that help get it out faster? Easier?
Yeah.
Just kind of.
I was just more panicked about that. I can't believe that's a thing.
That's crazy.
That's awful.
That's the plan. Mm-hmm. You'd think that something new would open up.
We'd have a better way of doing this.
The belly button opens and the baby just walks on out like a
garage door.
Yeah. Falls out, starts taking steps like a deer, like within 15 minutes, I think. That's how it should work. Closes on up afterwards.
It finds some sort of cookbook somewhere and cooks its own fucking food.
I'm sure women wish they would be like that too. I bet. I have a feeling. So she started to get a little bit odd in terms of saying weird things at weird times.
Yeah.
That didn't seem just to have any sense. Also, she would take what they called aimless nighttime strolls.
Okay.
She'd just walk out at 2 o'clock in the morning and fucking go for a stroll. Walk around in her fucking nightgown through the streets. She wrote letters to herself.
Oh.
Which is, some people write themselves notes or like, what I want to do or things like that. This is different. She wrote notes to herself from imaginary lovers.
Oh, wow.
People that she wasn't
that
fucking.
That
don't exist. Yeah, no, these are imaginary people. And left them around so her husband would find them.
Oh, what is that?
So that's what I mean. I don't know what either the psychology of that is either she needs the struggle or wants to fight, or she wants to try to manipulate him.
That's torture.
It makes her feel more adequate or more a self-esteem thing.
Is the giggle worth it to like watch a man melt down inside in the 50s?
Is he not paying attention to her, and she feels like maybe if I do this, then he'll get jealous and pay attention? Is this a last resort of just loneliness or desperation? I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or is that all interpreted through the the beer goggles of hormonalness of pregnancy? Is that, who knows, through that kaleidoscope, is that coming out like that? And just, who knows? We don't know.
I just feel bad for Frank.
Well,
it's fucked up, man.
Oh, it's messed up. Yeah. You're like, what are you doing? Why
are they like graphic, like fan fiction, like porno?
We don't know. It's the 60s, so I mean, who knows? It was probably just my dearest, whatever the fuck. Maybe it was dirty. I don't know, but you think he's sitting there going, why are you fucking someone with your handwriting? First of all, this is the most feminine.
The two of you.
He's talking about pounding you all weekend, and it's in a really feminine. Really, I mean, there's a heart over an eye here.
I don't believe him. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's a heart. That's dot in the eye. I don't buy it for a second. So, they really weird things, but most of the time, this was just weird little episodes. This wasn't every day.
Okay.
So they thought she was pretty normal, just a good person, good wife, good mother, as you know, because this is by 60 standards. We're in cheer up bitch times here. This is not. Yeah. We're talking about they'd look at her and go, wow, that's a good wife. She takes her kids to church on Sunday. Look at that.
Right.
Good for her. That's what they would do. So,
and she's pregnant at this time with the second one?
Yeah, and then she has the second one, and her behavior continues to be a little strange, but manageable here, as we'll talk about, for a little while. So she's got the two kids, like we said, Michael, born in 53, Carol, born in 60. She's wants to be more of like a society person than she is. She spends more money than they have.
Okay.
He makes a pretty good salary, but they don't have any savings or anything like that because they're always kind of in debt. She spends a lot. She wants to live a different lifestyle than she does.
Samesies, girl.
That's, I mean, everybody. That's everybody.
Who
that's
among us?
Exactly. Who the fuck doesn't?
Right.
Thank you. So, I mean, that's nothing to be mad at her for. No. January 22nd, 1965 is in the newspaper, in the Anniston Star, which is where a lot of stuff comes from here.
I think that
might be.
I think that's where he wrote from.
I think
James.
it's the only paper there. Yeah. But they have a lot of information came from them on this case. So good for the Anniston Star. So there you go. Them and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution had a great piece.
So
I'll say the author on it.
Great.
So you're getting your credit. January 22nd, 1965 is in the newspaper. It's the title is "Little Girl is Honored."
Oh,
and it's Mrs. Frank Hilly entertained her daughter Carol with a party in celebration of her 5th birthday anniversary. Mm-hmm. So they put like a notice in the paper, like in the society page, of them having the birthday party for the little girl. So that's what she, you know what I'm saying?
That's what she requires and thrives and craves.
She wants to be in society and be like, she has a certain idea of who she wants to be, and she's trying to get there, which that's fine.
Is that fucked up that she wanted all that credit? She got it, and it's Mrs. Frank Hilly.
Yeah, but back then,
I get it.
That was what it was.
Thing,
yeah.
I hate that.
I
really do.
That's so stupid.
I don't want to be.
It's so weird that it was back then. So you don't even have a name,
right?
That's
like exactly what that is.
Taking the last name is one thing, but you don't even have a first name now.
Not
like
anymore.
It's just so weird.
You are Mrs.
Yeah,
that's your
creepy.
name, Mrs.
It's creepy shit.
I don't like it.
Back then, it was just not even thought of, I guess.
It was a point of pride, James, because I'm married. That's why it's so amazing.
I guess so, yeah.
Because I've got him, and I want you to know that I've got him so bad that I am Mrs. that guy.
Unlike all the ladies down in the secretarial pool.
Right.
I got someone to make dinner for every night. I take speed so my house is clean. That's right. When I'm sad, they tell me, cheer up, bitch, and I do.
And I'm happy to do it.
I'm happy to do it. If it is your first time listening, that's a inside joke, and we are being very sarcastic. So in case you're from Anniston and you don't know what sarcasm is.
We were just defending women, not being misogynist.
Exactly. So you never know. Like I said, they don't understand sarcasm in Anniston, and we might have a couple people that don't. Who knows? So it then goes on to say the affair took place at their home. So it wasn't even like it was like at somewhere. It was a kid's birthday, a 5-year-old's birthday party at their house. And there's no reason to waste newsprint on this.
They called the press.
Children enjoyed games and contests with prizes going to Christy Perry. Good for you.
Sounds like a birthday party.
A 5-year-old who pinned the tail on the donkey. It's in the fucking newspaper. Colorful balloons and decorated the house for the occasion. That sounds like a birthday party.
Those are the symptoms.
And guests were presented party favors.
Yeah,
really?
That's it.
Now, if they say there's cake, I'm not going to believe it. If they tell me the little girl blew out the candles, I will not buy it. That's where I know they're embellishing. Let's see here.
Was there pizza and ice cream?
Let's find out.
Right.
Let's find out. Party refreshments were served from a table centered with a white birthday cake decorated in pink and topped with 5 burning candles. Really? I'm surprised at that, really. Honestly, that's really strange.
This is fascinating.
Really weird. Mrs. Huey Frazier and Mrs. Clarence Hilly, those are Frank and Marie's parents, assisted the hostess in entertaining, and friends of the honoree present included Donna and Missy, and they go on to list a bunch of children. One of which is Eric Swan with 2 N's, I believe, the defensive end for the Cardinals for years. Might have been him. I don't know. When was he born?
I don't know.
When he was fucking born. Might be him.
Eric Swan.
Eric Swan was there. He ate all the food. He turned out to be 6'7". So now once Carol starts going to school, she's 5, starts going to kindergarten. So it's right about after this time. They think this is when she really starts to get a little, Marie starts getting a little on the...
It goes a little more.
There's a little fucking bonjour here for a minute. She's she's a little crazy. And, I get it. I don't know what's going on inside of her body or anything else or inside of her mind. And I feel bad for anybody that's got anything going on like this. But she has no problems really until after Carol comes. And that's when it just gets so weird. They think that maybe, she ends up going to psychiatrists, and they think that maybe she resents her daughter's birth because her daughter gets more love than she did when she was a kid. And, she gives the daughter a bunch of love and then gets mad at herself and resents the kid for getting that much love that she gave the kid.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a fucked up circle, which in her mind... That's got to be a horrible place to live with that circle going on.
All day.
No one wants to be there. And then for a kid, you don't have any idea what's going on because 1 minute she was
so nice to me.
Here's this beautiful party. We're going to put it in the paper. And then the next minute she's resenting you because of the party that she had for you. Right. You had nothing to do with. So it's hard.
I didn't pick the cake.
I didn't. I didn't need candles. It didn't have to be pink.
I don't even like Eric.
It's fine. Yeah. He didn't have to bring Eric Swan over here. He's huge. He's going to eat all my cake. I knew it. So that's what they kind of think. So she goes back to work at this point, and she goes back to work always as a secretary, secretarial positions that are close to people who are in charge of shit. She's always the secretary for the owner of the company.
Okay. Like an executive assistant.
Oh, yes. Always to, kind of influential men in the community, basically.
Right on top of that, Rose.
I'm right on top of that, Rose. She was the executive secretary for Harold Musk.
Oh.
Who sounds like his balls stink.
Yeah.
President of the First National Bank of Anniston.
Oh,
wow.
Jesus.
Look at that. She worked for Jim Stanridge, head of the Anniston Waterworks. Oh, my.
Yeah.
And she was secretary for Lucian Lentz. Not Lucian Lentz. Holy shit.
Double L?
Now I get it.
Yeah.
And Leonard Roberts as well, both executives at Class Ribbon Works.
Oh.
So, yeah. And she was also secretary for Claire Draper, president of Dresser Industries.
Yeah.
And they didn't make dressers.
Her name is Draper?
Claire Draper.
Well, she does dresses.
Dressers.
Oh, dressers.
Dresser Industries.
Okay.
That's the name of it. She once modeled for Lentz and did some modeling for his whatever the fuck he was doing. Now, Leonard Roberts, remember that name for later, by the way.
Okay.
Now, to talk a little bit about her, you'll need to know this for later. She's a small woman, too, Marie. She is 5 foot tall, 100 pounds.
Okay.
Tiny little brown hair, green eyes.
Yeah.
Little tiny woman. Little tiny southern, real heavy southern drawl.
Yeah.
That little tiny
Wandering
woman.
around town at 2 a.m.
Wandering, pregnant.
Yeah.
Pregnant as shit, wandering the streets at 2 a.m. Very strange. Now, people, her family said she would spend too much money. They all said that she spent too much money all the time, like we said, and then bills would come for things that she bought, because you could just buy things back then and they'd bill you, or she'd get a credit card, put it on that.
Yeah.
When bills would come, she would hide them from Frank. So she had a problem with that, with spending, and then she would hide it. And there's a lot of people that do that in marriages. But
if you spend it, you got to pay it. Don't just hide it.
Well, but that's a really common thing that happens, though. It's excessively common. And somehow she'd always managed to pay things off without him knowing about it.
Good for her.
That's how it worked. Well, the problem was how she got the money was we don't really know. Frida there, who we talked about, who knew her since she was a child, said, quote, she could get money whenever she wanted it. And she would often come home. She would work late, quote unquote, for a couple hours, and then come home with $800 to $1,200 in cash.
That's not
in the early 70s, which is 2 weeks, a month's pay in the 1970s for her as a secretary. Yeah, it's like
for 2 hours?
It's like a month's pay.
Yeah.
And she'd come home and she said that it was for extra typing. Oh. I don't know how much you would have to type in 1973 to make $1,200, but it would be a massive amount.
Right.
A fucking massive amount. The minimum wage was like, what was it, like $2 an hour back then? I mean, are you kidding me? Not that you should get paid minimum wage for that, but even if you're at 10 times minimum wage, how long is that going to take you to make $1,200?
They don't pay you CEO salary to type generally.
Even at $20 an hour,
that's more than 40-hour work week of just typing.
She'd come home from
she could do 40 hours worth of typing in 2 hours, James.
That's the thing.
She was a badass.
Well, yeah. Well, there was a lot of rumors that she was having affairs with her bosses a lot of the times. As a matter of fact, we'll find out that Frank actually found out about one of these trysts and actually may or may not have walked in on one of them. No. So that's a problem as well. At one point. So, but it's not because she doesn't like Frank. Yeah. It's about
the spending.
She wants the money.
Yeah.
She needs the money and she likes the status of it. And so that's what she does. So it's a really odd, she's got a really weird psychological makeup going on here. It's strange. It really is. We've talked about a lot of murderers, and this one's kind of everything she does. You're like,
for money.
That's a weird thing. Okay.
I mean, generally people in a prostitution or any sort of sex work are doing it for the money. They're not doing it because they like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still,
absolutely. It's not. This isn't like, this is my life's work here.
Right.
No one's.
But they don't generally run a day job, and then they're like, I'd really just like to get a better couch. I don't have $1,200, but what I do have.
Yeah. Well, that's
that's a fucking weird.
It's a strange thing. I mean, I guess her bosses would. She could get them to give her a few bucks, and I don't know if it was a direct quid pro quo, or if it's just she's having an affair with them, and she, if she needs a little money, they'll give them some money because you do that with people you're close to, whether you're fucking them or not.
Especially if you're that close.
If you're that close, where you're inside of them, you should probably, if they need a couple of bucks, help them out. You know what I mean? From that, from that proximity.
And if you don't, from that proximity, it's right around the corner. You may as well.
You might as well. It's right there. So apparently, though, she liked like when there'd be like, events at these companies and stuff. She liked that sort of thing because it made her feel more kind of high society. Sure. She would buy like, clothes she couldn't afford and jewelry she couldn't afford and shit like that. One of her family members said, quote, Frank always stayed within his class, but Marie had to go to the best stores. Okay. That's what they said. They said that, years passed by. And the marriage is still solid, though, somehow.
Right.
Frank works a lot, and I don't think it's now like when people talk. Mm-hmm. Back then, people just came home, they ate dinner, they watched some TV, and they went to bed. They realized feelings.
Fuck your feelings.
You're going to bring up. So I mean, it was not. You're going to bring up some guy who works at the fucking iron foundry and was in the Korean conflict. You're going to bring up feelings, and he's going to. You can bring up your feelings, but he's not going to sit there and talk about feelings with you for 5 hours till 1 o'clock in the morning and cry with you.
And you can say
it's a different kind of person.
I'm
back
lonely,
then.
And the lonely he's felt is entirely different from yours. And he's going to be like, I was in Korea. But you think I was not lonely?
Back then too, he would have said, "You got the kids." Right. That's company. You're like, oh, thanks, people I have to take care of and do shit for. Yeah, that's a lot of kind. Really,
at least they don't have M16s shooting at you.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, are the kids Korean? Let me ask you that. No, exactly. They're born in Alabama. They're not shooting at you. So everything was kind of normal. Frank ends up being promoted to a supervisor at the foundry, bringing in more money, which is good and kind of makes everything a little bit better and makes her a little bit happy. Mike ends up going to college, as we'll talk about. He goes to seminary college and gets married, and we'll get to that in a minute. I have the announcement of the marriage too.
Great.
But the problem is, also he's going to go to, like I said, seminary college, the son to be a preacher.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to be at the Christian church in East Point, Georgia is where he ends up. Now, Marie is worried about her daughter, though, big time. Her daughter, Carol. Let me show you. This is a family portrait. Now, look at that family.
Yeah.
It looks like a television show.
That's
family.
Frank and her?
That's Frank.
Yep.
That's Marie.
Yep.
That's Carol. And that's look at Mike. Mike
what
and
the
Carol.
Fuck?
Both kids are gorgeous. Carol's gorgeous. Mike looks like a TV star.
He looks like he's on Baywatch.
He's got like long blonde
flowing
hair, flowing. This is like 1972,
right?
Yeah, he looks like he should be on like some television show.
They did great.
He's tall,
right?
Carol's a pretty girl. She's shorter like her mom, but she's a very pretty girl as well. And they're kids at this point. She's a teenager.
What a family!
Yeah, very nice family here. They're good stuff. And so you can see the family, but Carol, apparently Marie, started telling all her family and friends that she was worried about Carol.
Okay, why?
When she's in her early teens, in 1973, 1974, because she thinks that Carol is showing a sexual preference for women, as she put it. That's how she put it to a friend of hers, in quotes. She believes that Carol is into girls, and she is very concerned about that because it's Alabama and it's 1973, and they go to church every week, and there's not a lot of open-mindedness for...
A book told me this is bad.
Yeah, there's not a lot of open-mindedness for that back then. There just wasn't.
Right.
In the South, and not even in the South, everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some acceptance in some places, but it was really...
Not there.
Little bubbles, man. Yeah, in little bubbles. So... it wasn't even established if that was what she was really thinking at the time. This is just what Marie thought. Mm-hmm. So August 24th, 1974 is when Michael gets married. Frank was his best man.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's Frank's. The kids love Frank. Everybody, Frank seems like a good guy here. So they had all of that. They had a little kid do the ring bearing. Very nice. May 1975. Okay, this is when his son, Michael, is in college doing training to be a preacher. Yeah. And, that's going on over there. And he's in East Point, Georgia. And Frank visits his son, Michael, in East Point. He complains to Mike about feeling sluggish and tired. Oh, he's not feeling very well lately. And, kids like, I don't know, what are you in your 40s? You start to feel sluggish. What do you want from me? You know? I mean, it's what it is. People... It's the old Louis C.K. joke where he goes and my ankle hurts and he goes, well, yeah, it's just shitty now.
It's worn out.
How old are you? Yeah, that's why. You're in your 40s, dude. It's just shit. Things are just suck now. Yeah, things just suck now.
Give me a new ankle? No, it's that's the one you got.
It's just shitty now.
Deal with it.
Yeah, it's just going to hurt for a while. I don't know.
That's the equivalent of cheer up, bitch.
That's it. Yeah. Take some Advil.
Except for men, they get older.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, your body's fucked up. Look at it. Look at you. You can see it in the mirror. It's breaking down. What do you think's happening on the inside? What do you think? It's only on the outside, but the inside's pristine? No.
Yeah.
If you look at the outside of a banana peel and it's fucked up, that banana's fucked up too. Guess what? It's going to mirror image that shit.
Pretty good chances the inside looks about the same color.
Maybe worse.
Right. That doesn't look good to eat. The inside doesn't look good either.
No, it does.
And if you're older, and that's how things happen.
That's
natural progression.
You got it, man. That's
but
it.
I Google things now, and I know that just by Googling,
do that.
I know. But when I'm like super tired, I go, am I sick? And then it always brings up that I've got cancer. So right now I'm worried about Frank.
Yeah, everything is cancer. Yeah. So that's the thing.
I'm terrified.
What do you feel? A little sore throat? Well, that's obviously cancer. Clearly, anything.
Yeah.
I've heard every little tiny ailment somebody had has eventually been, and then it turned out to be cancer. So, you have to, that's why everybody just shrugs now. You're like, I don't fucking know. I'm sure I'm dying.
It's going to end.
I'm sure I'm dying now. So he visits his son. He complains he's feeling sluggish and tired. And a few days later, after he gets home, Frank leaves and goes home. He calls his son and tells him that he has something very important to discuss with him, but he has to talk about it the next time he sees him the next weekend because he can't discuss it over the phone.
Oh.
Which is... Yeah, I mean, what do you got? The Lufthansa heist? What are you doing exactly? What are we planning here? A hit? We taking out a rival preacher? What's going on?
I need to talk to you, but not on phones.
Yeah,
and when I do talk to you, cover your mouth in case they're watching.
Like in a casino, right. Smoke a cigarette and cover your mouth.
Bring a toothpick, anything.
That's all, everything. Just obscure their
Something
view.
You got to put in your mouth always.
So over the phone. What are you gonna? Kill the preacher who's currently employed at East Point so you can get in there? What's going on? The supervisor ahead of him at the plant? I need another promotion. Help me, son.
I want to talk to you about something, son. I'm not a big fan of Eisenhower. Let's talk.
I know that was a long time ago, but still, it's fine. Let's talk about Watergate, son. What is it, May 1975? Yeah, that just happened.
It's Nixon, yeah.
He's like, son, Sold out. Nixon's resigning. I know. Crazy. So 1975 in May, it continues to persist. He doesn't feel good. A little worse all the time, sluggish, all that sort of shit. So finally, May 23rd, 1975, he goes to the hospital, and he's admitted into the hospital on just based on his symptoms, and it doesn't look good. And based on the lab work they do, it shows acute liver malfunction, which is not great. And they diagnose him with hepatitis, infectious hepatitis. So, yeah, that's bad, obviously.
And he hasn't been treating it because he didn't even know he had it.
He didn't know he had it.
It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Oh, yeah, his liver's just getting all fucked up. And he was just walking around, thinking he feels sluggish because he's in his 40s and he's an iron worker. So he's like, yeah, I put a lot of miles on my body, probably.
Kind of wish he had Google.
I know, right? Don't you? So, I don't know. So that's rough. So about a week and a half later, he comes back and he's admitted to the hospital again. And, it's still hepatitis. At this point, he is vomiting and hallucinating. Oh, wow. He's picking up bed sheets and reading them like they were a newspaper. Yeah. When I say hallucinating,
wow.
That's what I'm saying. Not, is there, do you see a shadow over there? He's like, did you see the Mets lost today? And they're like, that's his pillowcase. What the fuck is he talking about?
Reading his My Pillow.
Yeah.
Talking about his daughter's fucking birthday.
Yeah.
Look, it was pink cake.
You see what these bastards in China are doing? They're like, he's reading his broccoli right now. Let's go. He picked his plate up and he just said that the Chinese attacked Vietnam it's just on broccoli. I don't know what he's talking about.
He just picked up his 300 count and told me Eric Swan came to his daughter's birthday party.
Super strange. Very, very weird.
He wants to prove it to me.
Picking up as if they were a newspaper.
That's awesome.
Reading off it like blah, 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 like talking, and they're like, whoa. They're like, do you see something? It's like, read the newspaper. Yeah. Just holding the sheets. That's wild.
It's horrible, but there's nothing I can do about it. So am I a piece of shit for enjoying that?
Oh, no. Plus, this happened 45 years ago. Yeah. So let's be realistic here. Yes. Is it bad? Do we feel terrible? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
It's amazing.
That's insane. That's wild that happened at all on the earth here.
I wish I was there.
Oh, man, that's sick right there if you're doing that. He was talking to people who didn't exist.
Oh, no.
Yeah, really hallucinating bad. Handing out pink slips to phantom employees. He was firing people.
Fuck out of here.
Literally, he was handing people napkins, telling them they were fired. Just people that were like visiting at the hospital, like just visiting other people. Hey, you're fired. They were like, from what? I'm unemployed anyway.
Had enough of you, Todd, and your shit attitude.
Yeah. That's
name's Ted.
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that would be close at least. Could have gone with
My
Bill
name's
or
Ted. You just heard me introduce myself.
Did you hear that? Yeah. You messed it up.
Got it wrong.
Got it wrong, though. That's what happens when you're reading the newspaper off the sheets. So he's firing invisible people, sometimes not even people who existed, sometimes people that were there, and sometimes he'd just yell at the air and go, God damn it, you're doing a terrible job, you're fired, and hand the napkin to nobody.
That is awesome.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
I look at that and I'm just like, wow.
That's how I go out.
Yeah,
that's how I want to go out.
I would hang out with that every day just to see what happens.
My kids will visit me if I'm pulling that shit.
Yeah, they'll just be filming it. Your son will be filming it going, I'm going to be the biggest TikTok star ever with this shit, because wow. Fuck some guy singing Fleetwood Mac. I don't want to see that. My dad literally reading the entire World Report section
on a 600
off of the
count.
sheets is awesome. This is
incredible.
Great. So he would do that. He tossed and turned, fidgeted, and then he kept. Marie was there most of the time. She would sleep in the chair next to him in the hospital bed, but he just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And they would treat him, and he kept getting worse and worse, and they didn't understand it. And this happened over the course of a couple of days. It got like from one thing to the next. He was just. He was, I'm kind of sick one day. Next day, he was shouting out, reading the funny pages off his pillowcase. So literally what happened. And then finally on, I believe May 25th here, he is, May 27th, he dies in bed.
Oh no.
Just lying there with Marie next to him in the chair. And the doctor was like, they didn't understand it at all.
Really?
They didn't get it. It was just like, it's sometimes people don't take the treatment, but for it to progress this quickly was really beyond the scope of normal. They said patients don't usually die from hepatitis 2 days after they're admitted into the hospital.
Right. Hepatitis is vicious.
It's a slow killer,
it takes
though.
a long time.
It's a very slow killer. Yeah, it takes a while. But they actually, so he requested an autopsy. The doctor asked the wife, do you mind if we do an autopsy? And Marie said, sure, go ahead, knock yourself out. They do an autopsy, and it confirms that he did indeed die of hepatitis.
Wow.
So they said, that's just weird. He just died of hepatitis. I don't know. Swelling of the kidneys and lungs, bilateral pneumonia, and inflammation of the stomach and duodenum. The cause of death was determined to be infectious hepatitis. That's
everything
from the autopsy report.
Wow.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So that's some official shit right there. What are you going to do? Funeral goes down after that, obviously, and everybody's very sad. Frank's goddamn 43 years old,
right?
Or 45 years old, and he was everybody liked him. He was supervisor down at the foundry, had a lot of friends. His kids loved him. He's the best man at his son's wedding. I mean, it's a very sad day for everybody in Anniston here. So a few weeks after that, Marie gets the Union Foundry he has a life insurance policy through work, through the foundry. Right. So they pay out Marie $31,000, $31,145 they give her. That was built up in his life insurance account.
Right. It's probably a portion of his salary or a full year's salary. That
it might be
what it
something
is.
like that. That's probably a little much back then for a year.
31?
So. 31,000 in the 70s.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's like, $200,000 or something. Right. I don't think he's making that. But I think that was every year it went up, the policy that you worked there.
Probably true.
And he worked there since 1951.
It might be 2 years' salary.
Yeah, who knows what it is, but that's what it is. So that's his life insurance thing for her. So that's pretty much what she's got at this point. She has skills. She's a very good secretary. Everybody says that. She's types fast. She's really good with people. She's smart. She knows what she's doing. She can run business. She's good stuff. So she can, make it on her own, but she's got this little something to start out with, which is good for her. People said, though, she got really weird right around now.
Right now.
Real weird. They said, which was normal because
that's going to happen.
Like if you just had a kid and your body's going through changes, you're going to act strange. People give you a wide berth on that because it's natural.
Right.
And with this, if your husband dies, especially unexpectedly and quickly of a weird sickness at 45, like that's
and he's the breadwinner and you've got 2 kids and you still got to figure out what to do even though one's off to college.
You've been with him since you were 18.
Right.
You got out of high school and married this guy. So this is all you've ever known is your parents and then this guy. So that's the only people you've ever lived with. Yeah. So it's just it would be understandable for her to be a little bit out there for a while here. But her stuff was really weird. They said they weren't normal grieving widow things that she did. It was just weird shit. Every night she'd fall asleep on the couch with a crowbar next to her.
Oh.
A crowbar. Really weird. She was all paranoid and full
protecting herself.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's going to protect you from hepatitis.
No.
She moved away. She moved from house to house in town.
Yeah.
6 addresses in 4 years.
In the same town?
In the same area. Yeah, just moving all around. Always away. Kind of always closer to the east side of Anniston, though, where she wanted to be, but never all the way over there because she can't afford it, but always a little bit closer every single time. She would stare in the mirror for hours at her reflection. Just stare in the mirror. People thought, that's odd. Right. All the moving, the crowbar, staring in the mirror, but nobody wanted to bring it up because they were like, she's obviously going through something. It's her husband. And back then, now it would be fine to be like, hey, I see you're struggling. Like, you're all right. Like, that would be okay to do now. Man, that's a good friend, actually. Whereas back then, that was considered invasive and none of your business. And, you're telling that person they're crazy and they don't want, it's a different thing back then. Mental health was way more of a private, embarrassing, quote unquote thing back then. Whereas now
Isn't that fascinating?
Shouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah,
don't talk to them about it. Go talk to everybody else about it.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
Go talk to the fucking pastor about it.
Yeah.
Don't go to her and be like, can I help you?
That's what I mean. Don't go get medical help. Legitimate. So it was difficult, man. So they didn't want to do that. Then the thing is they found letters from Marie to Mandy.
Oh.
Who is who she was saying it was an imaginary sister in Texas.
Oh no.
She made up an imaginary sister named Mandy. She doesn't have a sister named Mandy.
No.
In Texas. Nobody in her family lives in Texas either. She has an imaginary sister in Texas that she's writing letters that she's writing letters to.
Awesome.
So it's a little bit weird and people are like, okay, like her, a little bit strange. She calls the cops a lot.
About?
Well, from 1977 to 1979, she made at least 60 calls to the Anniston police.
Jesus.
60.
Wow.
That's a shitload. You might as well just park somebody on her street because she's going to call eventually.
It's going to happen today.
Yeah, she made at least 60 calls, all of them to complain about peeping Toms, extortion threats, weird fires that would pop up. There's multiple fires at her house. Very strange. One began in her bedroom closet.
Oh.
And she was like, it's a mysterious fire.
How does...
Probably you set something on fire. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is if she needs attention, because at this point her son is gone. He's married and he's a preacher in Georgia. Her husband's dead, and her daughter at this point is 17, 18 years old. So what happens then?
Right.
She has her own life. She has her own thing.
She's empty nesting, lighting her shit on fire.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think I'm not positive, but it seems like she's lonely and calling the cops, and she wants attention from the cops, possibly. I mean, psychologically that makes sense, but I'm not a doctor, so what do I know? Also, death threats, and she would report obscene phone calls as well. Obscene phone calls and death threats over the phone. Okay. So all of those things. At one point, the police actually set up a sting operation to catch whoever was calling her over and over. They set everything up. They had equipment all set up and taps. And this was a big deal in 1978. This was like a giant machine and a thing, and there was like 4 guys operating it. Right. Keep him on the line for 8 minutes. 8 minutes, and we can find out the zip code he's in.
Right.
Okay? Another 15, and we can get it down to a city block. Okay, great.
See Gordon Liddy's hiding in her closet.
If we then fly a plane above that city block, we might be able to get it down to a better possible location. Probably not, but it's possible.
And if he does this 30, 40 times, we might get a license plate.
We can get it.
It's
possible.
On 3, go.
Keep going. So the police officer said, quote, the day the equipment was on, the calls would cease. The day after the equipment was taken off, the calls would start again.
Oh.
Interesting.
This guy's clever.
Yeah, very clever. He's a mastermind. Then it turns out a couple years after the money was there, the money was all gone. Yeah. She spent all the money. She ended up with an additional policy. She ended up with about $42,000 altogether out of Frank's death. Okay. And it was all gone very quickly. And her son, Mike, said, I don't know where the money went at all. He told a relative, I don't know what she did with it.
Just spent it.
She moved around a lot and bought crowbars, I guess. I don't know. So December 21st, 1975 is when Michael Hilly is ordained, and that was in the paper as well. And he's a pastor there, or whatever he is, minister. April 1979. Carol's 19 years old.
Yeah.
Young Carol. She gets sick in church on Sunday in April of 1979. Normal.
Yeah.
So she had been at a party the night before. She had a couple of Tom Collins and, puffed on a joint here. Took like 2 hits off a joint, whatever. You think maybe, who knows what it is.
Then
a little
I go to
stomach
church,
bug.
They're scaring the shit out of me. I threw up.
You threw up. I don't know what, I've only been to a Catholic church, but I don't know what, do they have the smoke? Probably not.
No, there's no smoke in those churches.
Okay.
No,
I was going to say, that shit'll make you sick.
But they pass a collection plate around, and the judging from the people next to you when you only put a buck in there, that's enough to make you sick.
I guess it'll make you a little nauseous. So she said the nausea would come and go, and then it stayed and wouldn't go away. Uh-huh. So first it came and went and then would stay, and then she would vomit for hours this day. By the end of the day, she was puking for hours. Her mother ends up taking her to the emergency room where the doctors gave her some medicine, and she, some anti-nausea medicine. Quelled the whole thing for a little bit, kept it down, but then after a little bit of while, the symptoms came back again. After the medicine wore off, they came back and they actually admitted Carol to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So this starts a period of the next 4 months of absolute
just
sickness here. Carol's in and out of the hospital, back and forth. Her symptoms are usually the same. Every time she ate, she threw up. Everything. Even Marie would buy jars of baby food, like you give people when they have terrible ulcers. Right. My mother, when I was little, had bleeding ulcers, and she had to eat baby food. She died for 5 minutes. They had to bring her. It was wild, dude.
Angela. What?
Oh, yeah. When I was really young.
What causes that?
I was
that?
Is 5.
That just
Stress.
My God.
I was 5. She was throwing up blood. Yeah. And I was I called the ambulance.
You see what you do to me? Trying to feed you, James.
They asked my address, and I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I'm 5. I don't really know what my address is. I remember I actually had to run outside and look at the number on the house and come back and tell them. And the ambulance came, and they took her, and they left me there.
What?
So my dad came and got me because... I called him and he got me because the ambulance just left me there. And then we went up there and it was bad. I found out later that she died for a few minutes.
That's horrifying.
It wasn't good. Yeah, no. It was a bad thing. It was worse than I thought it was.
Ooh,
that's scary stuff.
Bleeding ulcers.
Very, very bad. Just wouldn't stop bleeding.
Jesus.
So she had to eat baby food for a year and a half, basically, of nothing but baby food.
I've heard of people having ulcers where they have to eat just bland shit like rice and chicken and no flavor, no salt.
She was eating stage 1 bananas.
Oh, boy.
It was fucking wild.
Not even the 3s.
Yeah, so Marie would bring her jars of baby food at the hospital to help try to see if she could keep that down, and she couldn't even keep that down.
Really?
Which, if you can't keep baby food down, I mean, that's the most mild thing there is.
Right.
So the doctors gave her so many tests, no reason. They could not come up with a reason for the illness. So in August 1979, she's out of the hospital for a while. She spent time with a friend of hers named Eve Cole. Carol and Eve were pals, and, they were hanging out together. And one afternoon, Eve was there, and Carol started throwing up again. So she was just in pain on the sofa. Yeah. She was just, holding her stomach. And her friend said that Marie said she had something to stop the nausea, and it was a hypodermic needle filled with a milky fluid.
Oh.
Marie's not a nurse.
No.
She shouldn't be administering shots, I don't think. So Eve turned her head, and Marie injected because she didn't want to see it. Marie injected it into Carol's hip. And she said that Carol didn't feel it nauseous after the injection. It helped her. So, but she said that she noticed that Carol told her that she noticed a tingling sensation, and said she lost all the feeling in her fingers and toes.
Oh my God.
Which I don't know which is worse. I'd rather be nauseous, I think. So by August 22nd, the numbness in her hands and feet got worse, and she gets readmitted into the hospital. At this point, Carol's 5 feet tall. She's very small like her mom, and small built too. Her normal weight is about 109 pounds. That's her regular weight. She comes into the hospital at 80 pounds.
Good Lord.
80 pounds.
Yeah.
And she, because of her numbness, she couldn't walk and couldn't even open a milk carton because she had numbness in her hands and feet. They did a ton of tests and could not find anything wrong. So they end up shipping her to Caraway Methodist Hospital in Birmingham on the 9th floor, which is their psychiatric ward, because they think that this is psychosomatic.
What?
And that they also think that she's probably bulimic or anorexic because she's losing all this weight and not saying it. So they think back then, rather than they would just be like, "You're crazy," and throw you in a fucking cheer up, bitch. Yeah. Cheer up, skinny bitch, and throw you in a thing. So it was ridiculous. So they did that. They took her there, and for 3 weeks, psychiatrists poked and prodded and could not find it. She's fine. She's not. There's nothing wrong with her. Right. She's not mentally ill at all. They're like, she's fine. She's a well-adjusted, young lady. She's fine. There's no reason that she should be
19
here.
And needs a sandwich. Get her one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So then one night in mid-September, she was in bed, and she said she was in bed at the hospital, and she said that Carol was in bed, and Marie reached into her purse and pulled out another needle, and she told her daughter one time there was another little girl who couldn't walk, and this made her better. So she injected her with something else into her hip, and she said at that point her numbness got even worse.
What the shit?
Yeah, so Carol called her friend Eve and told her about the other shot there. And by the way, I should say this because it doesn't make a difference, but how do you not mention this about a person? Eve has no arms.
What?
She's armless. She has no, I don't know how she lost her arms or whether she was born without arms. She has no arms.
Okay.
So
how do you bitch to her about not being able to feel your hands?
Exactly. Yeah. I guess you just keep it to toes at that point.
I can't open this milk carton. Yeah, me neither, you fucking whiny bitch.
She can type with her toes like fast as shit, though.
Really?
She learned to do everything with her feet because she has no arms.
That's awesome.
She's a spirit of a fucking, she's an animal. She's awesome. So that's incredible. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if I could do that.
I can't imagine doing that.
The only thing I would learn to do is fire a shotgun into my mouth if I had no fucking arms. The only and I'm not saying that taking suicide lightly.
No.
If I had no arms,
I don't want to be here.
I would lose my fucking mind. If someone has no arms right now and you're listening,
hats off.
Hats off to you. But I don't want you to do that, and I'm glad that you're persevering and you're much stronger and better than me. Yeah. Let's just say that.
I'd open my gun. That's what I'd learn to do is open my gun.
Yeah, that would be the only way because I would be very
safe with my feet.
That would be rough.
How to type the keypad code to open it is the only typing I would do.
Yeah, that's it. So on September 18th, Marie had a meeting with the Dr. John Elmore, who is Carol's psychiatrist. Okay. And he said maybe Carol's problem was heavy metal poisoning, possibly. Okay. Is there something she's doing that would cause that? Does she work somewhere that would cause that sort of thing?
Iron Maiden.
Lead, arsenic, something like that. Lead poisoning. Is she somewhere where there's a lot of lead paint?
Okay.
Whatever. So he told Marie that he planned to run tests the next day to see if that's what it was. So 5:30 that afternoon, Marie checks Carol out of the hospital.
Oh.
Even though she's very sick and has a bunch of tests to take the next day.
Impossible.
Yeah, drives her to a motel. Okay. The next morning, they were arguing all night and everything like that. Carol's sick of going in and out of hospitals. Marie then takes her to the University of Alabama Hospital in Birmingham. And when Marie and Carol arrived at the hospital, doctors had been told about, everything there. As he examined Carol, as they're examining Carol, Dr. Brian Marshall Thompson notices on Carol small white lines on her fingernails. Small little white lines on her fingernails. They're called Mees lines, M-E-E-S.
Yep.
And they often indicate arsenic poisoning.
Oh.
Yeah. So the doctor, Carol said at the time, the doctor looked at my fingernails. He saw white lines and said he'd seen it once before in medical school. He said either you did it to yourself or someone tried to do you in. And Carol said, quote, the first thing I thought was mother. Yeah. So on September 28th, she's released from the hospital. She returns to Anniston and goes on crutches to see her mother. She goes to see her in city jail because the day this happened, Carol is arrested on bad check charges for writing a bad check at a furniture store for furniture.
Furniture shopping while her daughter's in the hospital.
Yeah. So Carol crutches her way into the jail to see Marie.
Unless you're not buying a hospital bed for your daughter at the house.
Ramps and shit.
Right. You're an asshole.
You're an asshole. All 4 of her bank accounts are overdrawn, she found out. Anniston police were also investigating the circumstances of Carol's illness here. So Marie asked Carol if the doctors ever found out what was wrong with her.
Yeah.
She said, quote, arsenic, Mom, arsenic poisoning. And Marie said, quote, and they think I did it, don't they?
Oh, boy.
That's an odd thing. Is this about the girl with the shirt? That's a crime and sports reference. But if a police officer stops a man, goes to his house and says, are you so-and-so? And you go, is this about the girl with the shirt? You're fucked.
Yeah.
Because that's not a good thing to respond. She then says, Carol says, quote, Mother, I don't know. Sometimes people do things they don't remember doing. And Marie said, quote, if I did it, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's at this point, like I said, she's still locked up here. And this is when Anniston Police Detective Gary Carroll gets involved. And he's, suspicious of all of this shit here. And this is when it turns out that while she's in jail here, Frida Adcock, who is her sister-in-law, she ends up searching through the belongings that she has in their basement. Marie has belongings in Frida's basement.
Got it.
Searched through some of the belongings and also in another Anniston home owned by another relative that she has some stuff. On a shelf in a small back room in Carrie Hilly's home, where Marie Hilly stored most of her possessions, she found a black cosmetic case. Oh. Inside it was it was Marie Hilly's. She said this was her stuff. Inside it was a bottle half filled with clear liquid, and it said, and the bottle was arsenic.
Oh boy!
So that's not good. 3 weeks later, her and her daughter searched boxes of Marie's that were also in another place. And after a box, they found in a box that was all the way in the back of something, they found a paper sack containing 3 jars of baby food, a spoon, and a bottle of arsenic.
Oh, no.
In the form of rat poison.
Oh, no.
So baby food, a spoon, and rat poison.
So just putting the rat food, oh, God, in the baby food and taking it to the hospital and feeding it to her.
To her daughter, and injecting her straight with it, too. Carol testifies later on, and she'll say now, that her mother brought the baby food to eat at the hospital when she was there. So then this office, the detective Carol, not the daughter Carol, delves into Marie's past a little bit, finds out that the year before Carol became ill, Marie put life insurance on her for $25,000. Which is weird on your child.
Right.
You don't expect that.
And that's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. Back then, too. He turned up a confidential letter dated September 21st from Mike Hilly to Calhoun coroner Ralph Phillips saying, quote, it is my belief that she injected my dad with arsenic the same way she did with my sister. So that's not good. That's the son. That's her son. So
it's a
bad.
Pastor saying that.
And her son. Yeah, both. So
right.
Anyway, meanwhile, like we said, they found the Mrs. Frida Adcock was looking through and found a medicine bottle with the arsenic and the baby food and a bottle of Cowley's rat and mouse poison. Mm-hmm. And obviously right on it, this bottle contains arsenic. So not great. Turned it all over to the detective, who by then had found a bottle with arsenic residue in Marie's purse when they arrested her.
That's not good.
They looked through it a little further because when they arrested her, they didn't know what the fuck it was. But now when they were like looking for it, they were like, "There's fucking arsenic in this bottle." She had it on her in her purse the whole time. Perfect. Carol interrogates Marie in 1979 and says, "Quote, Marie, did you give her that poison?" And she says, "Quote, no, Gary, I don't know where you'd even get poison. I wouldn't give it to my own daughter."
Okay.
So she kept denying. Then she admitted giving her daughter injections, but said they were Phenargen, I don't know, an anti-nausea medication, whatever. That's what she was saying it was. So October 3rd, 1979, it's exhumation day.
Oh.
They're going to exhume Frank and make sure he died of hepatitis.
Okay.
Because they didn't ever test him for poison. So they're going to yank Frank out. On top of that, some other bodies are going to yank out, too. Let's also pull up, who is this? Louise Frazier, who is, Carrie Hilly, and Marie's mother, Louise Frazier. They died the year before, both of them, his mother and a relative of hers. And all three bodies had more than normal amounts of arsenic in them.
What the fuck?
But only Frank's had enough for pathologists to conclusively say that it was poison that killed him. Tests show that Frank's body contained more than 100 times the amount of arsenic normally found in a body. That's a shitload of arsenic. So she killed Frank and probably her mother and her mother-in-law as well.
Wow.
Yeah. And her daughter. She's just poisoning everybody. Oh, there's more too.
She's killing everybody at that birthday party.
Oh, you have no idea, dude. Wait till you.
Eric Swan better watch out.
You think you're joking?
Yeah.
Wait till you hear.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's not good. Also, they made an announcement, the state laboratory. And by the way, nobody likes to exhume people.
No.
They
don't want those bodies ever come back.
No one likes to fuck with the dead.
No.
Like in the homicide book, David Simon book that we've talked about 7 million times, they talk about this one case where they have to try to exhume a guy, and the guy doing it, the detective, is like a 25-year guy. He's like a hardened motherfucker, and he, after like 3 exhumations, when they get the wrong person, because it was like the pauper grave, and the guy was just burying him anywhere. And then it turns out he buried a bunch of people in a mass grave and didn't want to say anything.
Oh, no.
So that's why they couldn't find him, but they kept pulling up the wrong guy. And it was like breaking this detective's spirit. Yeah. Like literally he was like, I can't, like I'm having nightmares about like fucking,
disturbing graves.
Ghosts and ghouls and shit. He's like, I can't deal with this anymore. Crazy part about this is they were looking for a particular guy, a guy named Rayfield Gilliard. Okay, this is what they were looking for. This woman's husband.
Yeah.
She poisoned and killed and shot like all of her relatives that she had life insurance on. They pulled out like 4 people out of the ground before they gave up looking for him.
Oh no!
Pulled out like 4 wrong people. One of the people they pulled out happened to be the father of a guy they just arrested for murder 2 months earlier. The guy had just died, and now they had to go to him and go, hey, yeah, we just pulled your dad out of the ground by accident. Yeah. The guy was like, you did that shit on purpose, man. You trying to fuck with me? And they were like, no, really. Imagine being that guy. You're like, you did what?
We'll put him back. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll put him back. So it was pretty messed up. So anyway, they did do a press conference where the doctors did a press conference, and they said, quote, we are not saying this Frank Hilly's death was a homicide. We're not even saying that arsenic was the cause of death. We're simply saying that a significant amount of arsenic was found in the body tissues. And they said any death from the Hilly family will be looked at. Now, the investigators have less trouble laying blame and, putting, quote, labels on shit like homicide.
Right.
They know what they're doing. They said they determined the victims were given small doses of arsenic over an extended period of time, so it wasn't alarming. They just seemed to get sicker over time, which is normal. It eventually breaks down your nervous system. You lose control of your senses, and you become unable to control your body movements, is what the doctor said about what happens there. The FBI agent that was investigating now also noted there was 2 arson fires at the Hilly house, one when Frank was still alive, and the second one was when Carol and her grandmother were in the house alone. So 2 fires that were set by somebody. So they're like, this has to be Carol doing some shit here. One time, in some of the investigators that went to the house after she had called the cops all the time, they went to the house, and afterwards they became sick.
What?
Yeah. The agent said it's possible that someone had given them some type of poison. Also, there was a family that lived next door to her for years. The children were sick all the time, but the doctors could never find out why.
How's she getting this shit into everybody?
The family eventually moved, and the kids got well immediately when they moved. The kids got better as soon as they moved. Because she's putting it in food, she's putting it in drinks, she's putting a little tiny bit in drinks. Yeah. You give a everybody who wants Kool-Aid.
Do you want a Coke?
A little bit in there. Yeah. Boom, there you go. You got arsenic. Remember that one case we did with the Coke next door? That's what they do, and this is the same shit.
Unbelievable.
She's doing that. They got well immediately, those kids.
What is that?
I don't know what her fucking problem is. So they did urine tests to detect any arsenic that were ordered for everybody who's visited the Hilly residence, police who investigated. I mean, it was like everybody's probably, who knows how many people she's been poisoning. Right. October of 1979, she's indicted for the attempted murder of her daughter. Mm-hmm. And then the murder indictment's going to come in May. January. November 9th, 1979, she gets bailed out.
By who?
Okay. Leonard Roberts. Remember I said him? Yeah, one of her old bosses. Right. That would give her cash, too.
Ribbon Company guy.
Yep. Marie couldn't find anyone to bail her out. It's $10,000 bond. Her family wouldn't do it. Finally, Leonard Roberts from Class Ribbon agreed to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's one of the richest and most respected men in Anniston, they said. So they were a little bit like, why is...
Well, because if she starts singing, I don't want her telling her all of her dirt.
That's the thing. It's really fucking strange. So, anyway, she's out here around. At one point, she's taken by her lawyer to the Roadway Inn in Homewood, a Birmingham suburb. You were like, yeah, I've been there.
That's gross.
It's hot stuff.
Those are bad hotels.
Those are terrible fucking hotels. They're the worst.
They're so bad.
They're always gross. Roadway Inn, always gross. All right.
I've stayed in 2 in my life and regretted both times.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're like, you just have to keep telling yourself, it was $60.
Right.
What do I expect? $60. I mean, obviously, it's going to be disgusting.
Both times I got them, it was because everything else was sold out, and I just had to sit there in that bed and just tell myself, this is your fault. You did this.
Was it as
yourself.
Bad as Austin?
Yes. What was Austin? Oh,
that was bad.
Yes.
No, Austin was gross.
It was the same.
South by Southwest.
They're about the same.
We drove there straight through in 15 hours and stayed in the worst hotel because it was all the money we had in the world.
And all that was available.
And literally all. No, there was nicer ones available.
You're right.
But we didn't have $400.
We had $89.
We were like, we can barely afford this. Like, we were counting out cash.
Yeah.
It was really touch and go. Shit was not good.
And then the guy was, because we were paying cash, they're like, we're going to need an extra $100. We'll give it back to you in the morning. And I was like, I don't have that.
That's just not
going
to
happen.
Yeah,
what I have is $89.95, like your sign says. That's what I have.
I got that for you. Don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to need you to be a nice guy right now.
Got to be cool. Be cool. So now she checked into there, and 8 days later, her lawyer, Wilfred Lane, goes back to the hotel room, and she's not there. Mm-hmm. Finds it empty with a note reading, quote, "Lane, you led her straight to me. You will hear from me," with no signature.
What?
Okay. So basically, Lane called the police and said that Marie had been kidnapped. Okay. You led her right to me. Okay. So 2 nights later, the home of her aunt, Margaret, was robbed. Missing clothes were robbed, ID was taken, luggage was taken, and a collection of silver dollars that were in her car.
All the people, the same stuff that every robber loots out of a house. It's pretty obvious who did it.
Clearly. And it says, quote, "Do not," and there's a note too, right. Quote, "Do not call the police. We will burn you out if you do. We found what we want. Your car is in Gadsden." We. Your car is in Gadsden. That's what they said.
We found all the luggage.
Yeah.
We're the Samsonite bandits.
And then it literally after that it says that we won't bother you again now.
Okay.
So they're happy.
Got it.
So your car is over there.
Yeah.
The handwriting matched the same of the note at the Roadway Inn, by the way. So, she is charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for murder. In absentia, obviously. She's out there. So the FBI starts a coast-to-coast manhunt.
Yeah.
28 other federal divisions, all this type of shit. They put an APB out, 5'1", 110 pounds, green eyes, brown hair, scar on her knuckle. That's it.
Straight vicious.
That's it. 19 states are searched thoroughly here for this woman. They say FBI search is conducted in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, Maryland, New York, Connecticut, Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Washington.
My God.
They're going around. Any
thorough
possible clue they might have. January 1980, she's indicted for the murder of her husband, but she's not around. February 1980 in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Remember John Homan?
Yeah.
From up in New Hampshire?
Right.
Well, he's down in Fort Lauderdale at that point in time. And this is in February of 1980. And he meets a small, animated little brunette at a bar down there.
Hell yeah.
A little firecracker.
Yeah.
Yep. And
some scarred up knuckles.
Yeah. He named Robbie Hannon is her name.
Okay.
Yep. And he owns a boat building company in Fort Lauderdale. And he just got out of a marriage. He just got a divorce. He's attracted to Robbie. And they began hanging out. She tells him that she comes from a tragic past. She says she's 35. She's from Texas. She told him that she lost both her children in a car accident. Both of them. He said that he had an alcoholic mother that died when he was young, and he was shy and recently divorced.
Yeah, there's some parent trauma in a bar.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Hell
And he said that she was soothing to him because she was so nice to him and she talked to him. By March, they move in together.
Hell yeah.
So very quickly. Now, Robbie, the new lady in his life, gets a job as a secretary in an accounting firm in West Palm Beach. They don't stay long, though. In October, she and John leave Florida for New Hampshire, where John's brother Peter lives. Now, Marie and John rent a little house in Marlow, New Hampshire. Yep. John finds work at Findings, Inc., which makes small jewelry parts. And she finds work as well. She works for a while in different places. The Central Screw Company, which sounds like a 80s porn.
Yeah.
This is a Central Screw Company. And you show up looking for some screws.
Yep.
Film that shit. So the general manager here said he was impressed with her work. He hired her on a permanent basis as a customer sales rep. Thought Ronnie was terrific. He said he never checked out her references because she named a Texas company that was no longer in business as her last employment. So
I was like, check on that.
What's the point of calling that? She seems like a fine young lady. What the hell? He said that she name was Robbie Homan here, Robbie Homan. And then she resigned in August of 1981 to attend to, quote, personal matters in Texas. 3 months later, she came back, though, and asked for her job back and got rehired. She told everybody at work about her tragic life. She grew up in a wealthy Texas family, like a la Dallas, basically, which had just come out.
Yeah.
So she complained of severe headaches all the time, too. All the time. She said she's had an inheritance that she'd eventually get when relatives died. So that's what she was waiting on. And she's got these headaches all the time. And she said she's been to so many doctors to try to find out what it is, and no one knows what it is. Just headaches.
Yeah.
Maybe migraines. Some of her coworkers thought she was pushy and, kind of a pain in the ass, but most of them really liked her and thought they felt bad for her. And, and the men also liked her a lot. All the men thought she was very nice and she was real nice to the guys. She got along better with the men than the women, even though the women liked her too. She would get more involved stories as she went on. She told people she was dying of a rare blood disease that caused her body to make too many red blood cells.
Is that a thing?
I am sure it is, but I mean, she didn't have it.
Okay.
She and John got married here, and she would leave him alone from time to time, telling people she was seeking treatment from various out-of-town specialists.
Okay. Got to blast all those red cells out.
Yeah, she'd have to go from, going to the Mayo Clinic in Minneapolis, from going here. Ron Oja, who's the vice president of sales and marketing at the Central Fastener Company, said, quote, she was an excellent worker. Being wealthy was a very important thing for her. She craved status. She was always one of the first ones to the bank on payday. She always gave the impression of wealth. She's classy, very classy. So September 82, she resigned again to seek treatment in Europe, telling coworkers that this blood disease, was just overcoming her. She also began to talk about her twin sister, Terry. Said she's got a twin sister, Terry Martin, and she lives in Texas. She talks to her all the time. She said that she would occasionally shut her door to her office at work, saying she was going to call her sister Terry, who was having marriage problems, and she needed some advice. And only your sister can give you. Your twin sister is the person you're going to turn to for that. And everyone understood that. Nobody cared. She said that she was going to Texas to get some kind of treatment, and Terry was going to take care of her while she was down there as well, make sure she was okay. She said she was making one last attempt at this treatment, and she said that it was making her more and more ill, and this is my last shot, and if this doesn't work, I'm just going to croak, just cashing out. She said she would, her husband was going to stay in New Hampshire while she went down there, and she's gone for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, okay? So, yeah, she's complaining about her health, everything like that. Now, she would call him occasionally from Texas, and both she and Terry would talk to him, the twin sister and everything. Then on November 9th of this year, Terry calls and says, calls John and says, I have bad news. Robbie died.
Oh, no.
Poor Robbie's dead.
Yeah.
This blood disease overtook her, and she's dead, and her body's been donated to science.
Okay. She's in the bodies exhibit, and she's traveling the country. Yeah.
She wanted because she wants them to be able to find out what's wrong with her. You know, it's like the NFL players shoot themselves in the chest or they commit suicide because they don't want to fuck their brains up more. Right. So, yeah.
She wants to be the body playing badminton.
Yep, so that's it. So they're donated to science, and a few days later, a blonde woman comes to visit him, John Homan, in New Hampshire, and it's Terry.
Okay.
She's blonde, and she says, I'm Robbie's twin sister, Terry.
Okay.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
They put up Robbie's obituary in the paper on November 13th. Terry moves in with John to take care of him and help him, recover from this. She gets a job at a bookbindery.
Right.
Officials at the Cheshire Employment Agency in Keene, New Hampshire, said they found her a temp job as an executive secretary at the Book Press, a publishing firm, in November '82.
In Keene.
In Keene, yeah. Cheshire President Robert Marsh said her boss who was her boss at Book Press, was so impressed with her skills that he offered her a permanent job on December 6th, about 2 weeks after she started.
Okay.
Terry Martin's killing it. Her secretarial skills were excellent, they told her. He said, quote, she's very beautiful, the southern drawl type person, very congenial, very impressive. There you go.
Fascinating.
Yep. Said, that's how it was. She was like, this is great. Now, John would come to the plant on occasion, and after the death of his wife, he'd go back to the screw factory there just to talk to people, and he would bring Terry, the twin sister, around to explain to the friends how she died, because they all wanted to know what happened and, the last days of poor Robbie. Yeah. They said the resemblance was, they're twin sisters. They're like, perfect. That's amazing. It's just a blonde and brown version of them.
Unbelievable. They have the exact same DNA.
It's crazy, right? They said everybody was standing around. This is the boss, quote, everybody was standing around crying. And she said, Robbie told me so much about all of you. Can I see the desk where she worked at and sit in her chair?
Like you, Tom. She told me you like pretzels.
Yeah. Here's some, I brought them for you. I know so much about all of you. So.
All right.
Yeah, one day she went by herself to the Texas Screw Company to see her sister's friends, and the boss, Ron Oja, started becoming a bit suspicious.
Yeah.
So he said, quote, I called Texas to check out the Sacred Heart Church in Tyler where the services were held. There was no record of a Sacred Heart Church in Tyler and no record of anybody by the name of Robbie Homan dying. Her body was supposed to be given to the Medical Research Institute in Dallas, but there was no Medical Research Institute in Dallas. The obituary said Robbie was born in Buffalo, New York, but the Bureau of Vital Statistics said they had no record of her birth or anything.
Ron dug deep.
God damn. Ron turned into fucking Billy Jensen over here and got a shovel out and started going to town on that shit.
Shit.
Damn, Ron is in the wrong line of work.
Yeah.
He should at least have a podcast, if not more.
Private investigator at minimum.
Wow. So he called the police and they brought the FBI in. And that's how it was.
That's what happens when you already know where the bathroom is in a building you've never been in.
Yeah. So they get to him and they go, hey, they arrest her. Basically, they go there. And when they said, hey, the FBI showed up and we're like, yeah, we don't think you are who you say you are. And she was like, I'm Audrey Marie Hilly. I'm from Alabama and I'm wanted. She just spilled it immediately.
Gave it up.
They didn't know that much. They just knew she wasn't who she said she was. She could have made something else up, but
we're on to you, but we don't know what we're on to. Well, I'll tell you.
Yep. So after she's arrested, she called her son, who she hasn't talked to in years,
right.
And she had disappeared for 3 years. She said hello. He said hello. First thing she said is, quote, "Is Carol still a homosexual?" Nice talking to you, Mom.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So
did the arsenic work on that?
Right. The detective Hubbard even said that, Hilly paid such close attention that Robbie Hannon smoked one brand of cigarettes and read books all the time, whereas Terry Martin smoked a different brand of cigarettes and never read. She watched TV all the time.
Unbelievable.
She made a completely different fucking human being. Yeah. They said... It's crazy. They said that it was just gossip around the town of that she looks just fucking like her.
Right.
He's walking around with her twin sister now. What is happening? It was just so weird. January 1983. Yeah, they told John Homan, and he said, quote, "There must be some mistake. I don't understand what you're talking about. This is crazy." But no, they said, yeah, that's not Robbie Homan. That's not Terry Martin.
Right.
That's actually a completely different fucking person, not your wife or her sister.
And you're lucky to be alive.
It's a woman named, how you feeling? You nauseous at all? So, this is crazy. The FBI agent David Steele went to a factory near Marlow to question her. And as she walked to the parking lot, he stopped her and he just said, "We know you're not who you say you are. Who are you?" And she said, "I'm Audrey Marie Hilly from Anniston, Alabama," which was pretty quick. But she was, top 10 FBI most wanted list.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, she was up there.
That is incredible.
They wanted her bad. She was, she could be killing how much she was poisoning everybody. Yeah. So when they told John Homan, and he said, quote, "It blew my mind." No shit.
Yeah.
Did it. He said he was humiliated as well.
I'm sure.
When news came out that he's the dumbest man alive. Okay. You know your wife.
Yeah.
Twins. I've known lots of identical twins. Not lots, but a few sets. They have little differences.
There's some quirks.
And that's with clothes on.
Right.
So,
when they're nude.
You know what I'm saying?
Life does things to different people.
There's different things.
There's no way that does it identically.
That's what I'm saying.
To twins.
You would know at that point what's going on there. So, he said he felt like an idiot, basically because she lost 5 pounds and dyed her hair blonde and came up there, and now she's a different person. Yeah. And he was like, "I bought that." We think, or he was in on it. We don't know. Yeah. He said, quote, "I felt they were two separate people. Their actions were different. There was nothing to tie the two together, except that they're fucking identical in every way, including scars and identifying marks, you idiot." So the twin there, Jesus Christ, that's fucking insane. Apparently what she had done was she left in September 82, Marie as Robbie, as the sick one, stayed in Texas for a few days. On September 23rd, she went to Pompano Beach, Florida. That day she had her hair bleached, then went to an employment agency seeking work under the name Terry Martin. By the end of the day, she had a secretary job at Solar Testing Services, worked there for 6 weeks, told her boss Jack McKenzie about her twin sister Robbie, who's gravely ill.
Who doesn't exist.
Yeah. And she said her sister had recently suffered a stroke and then developed cancer, which it's one of those cancer strokes where you have a stroke and it kicks cancer right into gear.
Really kickstarts it.
It kickstarts it up. That's what happens. And Terry felt responsible for her. And then she said that she left in mid-November, told the boss that her sister had died. And, she had to take care of stuff, and she'd be in New Hampshire, and she's going to stay there, and thank you for your kindness.
Yeah.
And that's when she went back and went, "Hi, I'm Sister Terry." That's when November 10th is when she called John to break the news that Robbie was dead, and she's coming back. So, all those calls, they go into that. 2 of the officers, by the way, this is the more poison thing I want to talk about. At least 2 of the officers from those investigations had complained of severe stomach cramps and nausea after drinking coffee that she gave them.
Okay.
So it's very specific to that. Also linked to the chronic unexplained illness of various neighborhood children. One playmate, 11-year-old Sonia Gibson, died of unknown causes in 1975.
Oh, no.
But the autopsy revealed elevated but not like the other people. More than she should have, but not enough to call it a murder when they exhumed her in 1983.
But probably.
But they were pulling little girls out of the ground in 1983 still from this fucking monster. That's the problem. They've interrupted. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Her son Mike also had symptoms that doctors attributed to the stomach flu that stopped abruptly when he moved away to attend seminary school. She was poisoning her fucking son, too, her whole family, just everybody. A little bit at a time. I don't know if it's a control thing.
I don't know what that is.
So, June 1983 is her trial. Carol, obviously, is going to testify quite a bit. She's on the witness stand for hours. She said her mother gave her 3 injections. Carol testified saying that they would either stop her nausea or help her walk again. That's what she would tell her. Her mother would tell her. With the last 2 shots, she said that that's when she was at the hospital. She told her daughter to promise not to tell anyone about the shots because they were at the hospital, I guess. After the injection, she said she felt tingling in her legs and would lose sensation in her hands, feet, and ankles, and all that sort of shit. So they say that is like the advanced stages of arsenic poisoning, when you start to lose muscle control. Halfway through her testimony, this is insane, defense attorneys repositioned their table so that it faced the jury instead of the judge's bench. Why would you do that?
What?
Really weird. After the rearrangement, Marie's facial expressions as her daughter testified became visible to the jury. They wanted the jury to see her facial expressions as this happened. So the defense attorney, Wilfred Lane, asked her questions, the daughter, Carol, about drug use and homosexual liaisons, quote unquote.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you gay and on drugs or what? Is that what's wrong with it? What happens? You guys do your scissoring and then you get all arsenic mixed. When you rub 2 of them together, it creates poison. Didn't you read the Bible? For Christ's sake. 2 vaginas equal poison.
Right.
That's how it is. It's like when you put salt on a slug. It just don't go together.
That Y chromosome, when you put your tongue in it, it creates the arsenic.
If you put the marijuana into it at that point, it expands it. Then our whole body gonna shut down. Marijuana and pussy juice is what causes death in young people. That's the only thing.
Is it XX? It's a male?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, XX is a woman.
Okay, never mind.
Y chromosome is the male.
God damn it.
Yeah. So, holy shit. So,
okay.
This is fucking ridiculous to ask her that. Carol acknowledged that at one point, on one occasion, she smoked marijuana, and at one point, she discussed with her friends the possibility that the drug might be causing her illness.
Oh, boy.
If you're smoking shit dirt weed in 70s Alabama, it's not causing anything.
But usually weed's not laced with arsenic.
No, and maybe a slight headache and slight munchies, but you'd barely get high off of that shit. Are you kidding me?
It's not going to make your hands numb.
He asked her if she attended pot parties.
Oh, boy.
Do you attend pot parties?
Who's ever called it that?
This is people in the 50s.
Right.
This is like 1983. But it's Alabama, so it's roughly the 50s. So, told the jury in response to a question from Lane that she stopped living with a roommate who was a heavy drug user and was known to be a homosexual. So she said she left that arrangement. She didn't like that. Carol acknowledged suicide attempts at one point. How would you not? Your mother was trying to poison you for years, for fuck's sake, involving a mild overdose of 5 Tylenol.
That's how she's going to do it.
That's a cry. I mean, if you eat a whole bottle of Tylenol, you won't die now, but in like 2 days you'll drop dead. Right. That's how it works.
5 tabs of Tylenol
is too much, and that's a cry for help.
Yeah,
I took a little too much. Maybe we'll pump your stomach.
That's what you take when you think you're having a heart attack.
Yeah, it's what you take if if your neck's all fucked up from a bunch of car accidents and you need to record a podcast. You take like 6 Advil liquid gels.
And
it's different than Tylenols. You can't.
It's not a suicide attempt.
You can't take that many Tylenol though, because they will eat your body up.
Yeah.
Not that
one.
Yeah. 5 is probably
that'll
short.
give you bleeding ulcers too.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
She said, absolutely. She said the attempt was made shortly after she was admitted to the mental hospital because she knew she wasn't didn't belong there. She's being poisoned, and they're telling her that she's crazy. Yeah. Imagine that.
Oh, boy.
She's like, I'm fine.
Right.
I want to eat, and I throw up. Right. My mom's giving me. What is happening? Holy shit, that has to be frustrating.
With a white boost.
Yeah.
How do you... I don't know.
Right in the ass like I'm Hulk Hogan. What's happening?
I get it. I mean, I understand trusting your mom, but boy, oh boy, if my mom came to me and was like, I'm going to give you this shot. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous. So then comes Priscilla Lang. They call her in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, quote, a streetwise blonde who was awaiting trial on charges of forgery and theft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's
smokes. Cool.
Yeah.
She came in a leather jacket smoking. By the description.
She's got street smarts because she smokes cigarettes.
She's up.
Okay.
So they first, she said that she had been Marie's cellmate in the county jail for 3.5 months. And Marie claimed when they first met that she had no idea why she was being charged with murdering her husband and trying to poison her daughter. A few weeks later, though, Marie changed her story. Her sister, she said then her sister-in-law did the poisoning, not her.
Okay.
It was all her sister-in-law. She said, but then something happened that shocked her. Priscilla, that is, the streetwise, blonde, tough. Quote, she was having another one of those headaches. All of a sudden, she changed into a different person. She became more violent and cursed a lot. Then she went into talking about the arsenic poisoning and how, quote, she done it all and that she killed all of them. She was talking about how she killed her mother-in-law and her husband and attempted to poison her daughter. She said she took arsenic poison and put a little bit of it in their food a little at a time. Priscilla testified that Marie said that she, quote, did it because her daughter was a lesbian and had been from the age of 13 or 14, and that her husband and her husband's family all sided with Carol. You know, they were nice people who were like, we love you no matter what you do. And she was like, I got to poison all these people. How dare they?
That's why she did it?
That's what she said. She said she was ashamed of her daughter and hated her for being that way. That's what she told Priscilla.
Oh, my God.
That's probably not the best thing to say in jail, by the way, because in jail, ladies tend to like ladies here.
Well, yeah.
Probably not a good crowd to bring that up in, is what I'm getting at.
And it's not necessarily that they like him, it's just that's all that's there,
and
right?
It's a less...
Well, I've been watching Orange is the New Black. They do it a lot.
No, it's way more... Well, they're also a different...
Yeah.
Men's prison and women's prison are way different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's...
Also, women are a little more fun to do that with.
Well, yeah. Well, thing is, women, even criminal women, are human.
Yeah.
And then men aren't.
No.
Especially when they get in that environment where there's no women around, that's when they become fucking like animals.
Yeah.
And, whatever. So anyway, after the closing arguments, the judge recessed the trial, and Marie stood and stared across the courtroom at Carol.
Yeah.
And mouthed, I love you at her.
Fuck you.
So then she smiled and she motioned for Carol to come over and talk to her. Huh?
Yeah.
Fuck you talking about? Carol said, quote, no, Mom, I can't, and wouldn't do it. I can't do that. The jury deliberated for 3 hours before reaching the verdict. It's not very long, 3 hours. I mean, how much time do you need? Right. They find her guilty on both charges. And, sentencing is the judge. I mean, imagine looking at this woman with everything. You,
right,
Marie, Robbie, Terry, whatever the fuck your name is, ma'am, may fuck off.
Yeah.
Life in prison plus 20.
Okay.
So,
that's not life without.
That's life plus 20. Yeah. So that's going to be, whatever the Alabama life is, say
45,
40 plus 20. Yeah. So 25-year parole maybe if you're looking at it in terms of good behavior and shit like that. Well, it's a little bit different than that.
Okay.
So in jail, John sticks with her, John Homan.
What?
Not
John?
Even the person he
John?
thought. Yeah, John.
Come on, John.
They do an interview with him. I think it's the Anniston Star, where he is eating a bowl of grits at the Waffle House in Anniston.
Gross.
And they call him a thin, balding man. They said he stayed in Anniston after the trial. He was living in a hotel and working as a tool and die maker at the foundry because she's in jail there and he wants to stay close to her.
He's working at the business that her husband... What?
It's a different business.
It's not the same.
It's not the foundry, not that one.
The foundry.
It's a different one.
Okay.
They said that Jesus Christ. He said, "quote When this is all over, maybe me and Marie will write a book. We'll tell the true story."
Oh, John.
He says. He said, "Well, you've known her." People told him, "Well, you've known her as 3 different people. What do you call her?" And he said, I've called her Robbie, I've called her Terry, and then I had to start calling her Marie, because that's her fucking name. Jesus Christ. He went on to say that he didn't believe Marie poisoned anybody. He said that she was the innocent victim of family hatred at the top rungs of Anniston society.
Unreal.
The top rungs of Anniston society. Before the trial, he told newspaper reporters that his wife left him and returned as her twin because she wanted to protect him from too much grief if she had to run again. That's why she didn't want to run away. She was protecting him. That's what she told him. So every Sunday at 5:30 in the morning, he gets up and drives for almost 2 hours to Wetumpka to see Marie during the prison's weekly visiting hours.
Oh, John.
Sucker on his forehead with a stamp.
For sure. He felt dumb and duped and like the dumbest man on earth, and then he continues it? John!
He said, quote, I'll tell you why she did it.
Yeah.
He said, that's what he's, quote, I'll tell you why she did it. For a 4-letter word people don't use that much anymore. Love. Oh. Everything she did for love.
Fuck.
Except for poison her children and her husband.
Right.
1985 is her appeal with the Alabama Supreme Court, and she is looking for a new trial. A lot of this is on evidence used in her conviction was illegally seized, is what she says, because she says she was arrested with the purse, and then they used the purse later, but that purse wasn't a search from the original arrest, or from the right arrest. It's a search from her check thing, so that shouldn't have been held in fucking blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, there's poison in your purse.
Right.
Also, she said that none of the stuff that Adcock woman found, Frida Adcock found, all the baby food and the spoon and all that shit, none of that should count either because that's a legal search and seizure, but it's not because the police didn't fucking do it.
All right.
This lady went into a house that she had access to legally and searched through some shit that was sitting there then turned it over to the police, which is, if the police said, hey, we're not allowed to do it, but if you want to poke around, that's not technically legal, but she did it. No one said that anyone told her to, so that's legal, whether she likes it or fucking not at that point. The defense claims, quote, Frida Adcock had no right to seize the evidence admitted into the case. Further, it claims that the police testing of the bottle constituted a warrantless search, which, no, it was just a private citizen handing over shit to the police that was evidence. That's all. So both searches cited by the defense turned up small vials of arsenic, obviously, and also some private letters and all sorts of shit like that. They find her. Keep fucking off.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. We got you like dead to rights like 5 times. Yeah. So somehow, I don't know how, by 1986, they start giving her work furloughs.
What?
Or not work furloughs, weekend furloughs.
Like just get out of free?
Good behavior earns her several one-day passes from the prison.
Wow.
Where she can just go out and leave and come back.
Okay.
She always arrives back on time.
A murderer.
Always comes. A fucking murderer poisons everybody.
Top 10 America's Most Wanted.
Probably. They think she tried to poison police officers who were investigating imaginary crimes at her home.
In 2 years, we're letting her out.
Yeah. Good behavior.
Yeah.
She always arrived back on time until February 19th, 1987.
Yeah. Tired of coming back.
They give her a 3-day furlough. And she was declared a fugitive on Sunday when she failed to show up for her furlough back again. She was there. Her husband was her sponsor there, John Homan. I guess they got officially married to the real person. They arrived back at his apartment for that evening that she got out. And Marie called the Calhoun County Sheriff to tell him she was in town, which she has to do, required by her court and prison rules. That was the only contact she made with local authorities. The following day, she left his apartment and told John that she would meet him at the Waffle House in a little while. She never came when she was supposed to, so her husband contacted the sheriff to say, hey, I'm not involved in this. The sheriff called prison officials to warn them that she had disappeared. She was officially declared a fugitive that afternoon, and a statewide search was started. Okay. She left a note saying she was going to Canada.
Oh, boy.
That's what she said. So the note, investigators said, what the fuck? They said that she could be anywhere. They said she could be living a life. She changes her personality to fit her surroundings. Mm-hmm. The FBI said, quote, she can be kind, laughing, considerate, and then brutal and hateful. We believe she's living in a world with make-believe friends and enemies. When she reads this, if it's the real Audrey Marie Hilley, she will probably change her personality when she realizes that she is accused of doing something. It's not likely I'll arrest Marie Hilley, an agent said. He said an agent in another state will. But the real Marie Hilley reads this. She will likely change her personality and relocate or get careless, and hopefully we'll find her. They said that, they're hoping she contacts friends and relatives or something like that, and look for a small woman, but she's going to be having a different personality probably. So just keeps going on. They said that she'll probably be working in a respectable job. She'll be doing secretarial work. They said, quote, she's a perfectionist and wouldn't take a job that low rates her. She'll be living a good life. She will be in a beauty shop at least twice a week. She's always dressed nice and her appearance was pleasant always.
Yeah.
That's what they say. February 26, 1987. This is in the Blue Mountain area here, less than a mile from where she was raised. A woman named Sue Kraft spots somebody out on their porch. It's a rural porch out there. It's freezing cold out February, like 40 degrees and rainy.
Yeah.
Terrible outside. And this person, Sue Kraft, sees what she calls a grim, ghastly figure on the porch.
Oh, boy.
Sue says,
Alabama, even.
Yeah, quote, I really didn't like looking at her. She was scary. There were spots of mud on her face. Her bangs were stuck to her forehead. She had long fingernails like she had never wrung out a mop. She had thin hands, and the little finger on her right hand wouldn't straighten out. It was double bent. She was so dirty, she talked like her tongue was thick. She apparently had been crawling around the woods. This is Marie.
Yeah.
She had been crawling around the woods for the last 4 days.
Wow.
It's been pouring rain for the last 4 days, and at night it's been in the low 30s.
Oh,
so she's been soaking wet.
So she shows up on a stranger's porch.
Yeah, on a stranger's porch. She's been crawling around the woods by her home where she lived.
My.
She had nowhere else to go. The people here on her porch covered her with a painter's drop cloth, but left her outside in the wind and rain while they called the police.
Stay out here.
Yeah,
You're
like
gross.
what the fuck, man? She's a tiny lady.
Yeah.
She's not going to run amok. You can at least bring her inside with her
I don't
heat.
know. I don't want her near any arsenal.
I mean, I mind my own business.
Yeah.
If I see her out there, I'm like, I don't know. Unless they knock, I'm not saying
Maybe
shit.
she'll leave.
Maybe. They said that her hands were pinkish purple. Yeah. I would feel terrible, man. She had mud on her face and her clothes were soaked. They said that the police said that she told them that her car had quit running a few miles away, but couldn't tell them her name. That's what she said. She said, I walked and crawled some of the rest of the way. And then the people at the house said, well, the police are on the way. And the last thing she said was, okay. And then the ambulance came. Rescue workers took her. She's conscious when the ambulance arrives, but suffers a convulsion in the ambulance and loses consciousness. The spokeswoman for the Regional Medical Center in Anniston says she suffers a cardiac arrest upon arrival at the hospital, and they try to raise her body temperatures but are unsuccessful, and she dies.
Wow.
She dies right there.
Died of exposure to the elements?
Exposure, hypothermia.
Unbelievable.
Yep. She found dead. Cause of death is, I think, hypothermia, and that's that. They said they worked on her for hours. That was how it was. One of the people who worked at the hospital said, quote, a nurse said, it's sad to me that she died knowing what her life was. I don't guess she was no Christian, and you know where people go that don't.
Okay.
So she's saying she's going to hell.
Yes.
The district attorney has a more interesting thing, Bob Field. He said, it seems to be an anticlimactic way for someone who was the great escape artist to die. This goes against everything she's done in the past. The biggest escape artist in this area in 10 years, and what does she do? She ends up crawling around in the woods.
Right.
Yeah, they said that she just probably didn't plan her escape as well this time. It was kind of a spur of the moment, maybe. Right. The police, Gary Carroll guy, said, quote, this was ill-planned or not planned at all. He said, normally she's got an elaborate plan and can pull off a smooth escape. This time it was spur of the moment and she got a little desperate, I think. So, yeah. They, 3 months after that, they're doing a full investigation on the furlough system of how the fuck did we let this woman out of the jail ever for 5 minutes?
Right.
For this to happen anyway. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Yeah, they said that people saw her while she was in Anniston when they did things. She was walking around, but nobody knew what was going on and nobody really paid attention. February 22nd of the next year, 1988, a year later, they talk about, have we found out where she went or what she did during this time? Did she try to get away? And County Sheriff here, Roy Sneed, said, quote, we don't know anything more than we knew at the time. 0. From the time she walked away from the motel, we still have no concrete evidence of her whereabouts till she showed up on that porch. Wild. That was it. Yeah, there's been a bunch of fucking books, by the way, published on this, but I didn't read any of them, by the way, because a lot of them were like partially fictionalized, but all the books, they're all called like Husband Killer, Black Widow. All those books are like very over. Yeah, they're just over dramatized.
The story doesn't need that.
They just put their own shit in it always, and I don't like that. Especially when I can go back and look through a million newspaper articles and court documents and get exactly what happened. Right. I don't really need any of the other shit, so I don't need some asshole's opinion. So yeah, that's how it worked. 1994 in July. Yeah. So some time has gone by. She's been dead for 6 years, right. 7 years. Carol puts an ad in the paper selling Marie's prison artwork.
What?
Yeah, that Carol.
Why?
That Carol, the daughter. Yeah, that she tried to kill. She said from 83 to 87, she rediscovered her hobby of painting. Her daughter is selling one of them. She said, quote, I can't afford to get it framed. It's a 56 by 36 inch painting of a forest scene.
That's a lot of painting.
It's fucking huge.
Wow.
She said, it's quote, it's just hanging around. She put a classified ad in the Anniston Star seeking a buyer for her mother's work. She said, her mother's pretty notorious and whatever. As people, it's signed at the bottom by her and all that. She said, quote, when she was in prison, she didn't have anything to do. For somebody who never really painted before, she was fairly good. And she said that she was interested in drawing long before she went to prison. She remembers how her mother would sketch while they were sitting in church. She's paying attention. She would draw a picture and challenge her daughter to copy it. When she went to prison, art became her main entertainment. She did oil painting and had dozens of pencil drawings, watercolors, and pictures done by her mother as well. All of them are signed Marie Homan, because she's married to John there. She even did one especially for the daughter she tried to kill there, Carol, and signed it, quote, with love from Mom.
Oh, boy.
Don't touch it, though. It might be poisonous. It'll leak through your fingers, some sort of like CIA fucking murder technique. She said that the time when her mother was painting represented some of the best years of their relationship. They never talked about her mother's crimes, though, she said, while she was in jail there. She said she had to come to terms with what her mother had done and is still scared for her. She said that love is one of the reasons she's selling this picture. She said, quote, she did them and she's still my mom. She's not around to do them anymore. That's that. It's $3, like big deer, male deers, $3 bolting from a forest toward a lake on a big giant canvas here surrounded by trees and shit like that. Sold it. I don't know. They didn't follow that up. So the Anniston Star had a lot of pieces here and there, kind of fill-ins, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution article by Hugh Merrill was a great, very great detailed article, encompassed all the court docs and everything else, interviews. They really did a thorough job on that. So good job by them. And that, everybody, is why we had to go back to Anniston, Alabama again. Because could you find a crazier fucking story than that? I dare you.
FBI had to go back, so did we.
That's what I'm saying. We all have to go back to Anniston eventually. If you like that show, damn it, tell us about it, please.
I kind of want one of those artworks. That's the only person that did something terrible that I kind of want it.
Yeah, right, because it's just weird.
It's ridiculous.
Tell us about it. Get on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. That purple icon helps us out a lot. We have no fucking idea why, but it does help us out, so please do that. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com right now for everything crime and sports and small town murder related. Everything is there. Listen to Crime and Sports if you haven't this week. Charles Barkley was our subject, so you've heard of him, and man, did he do some crazy shit. Hear about him throwing someone 5'2" through a window, a plate glass window. It's pretty entertaining, if nothing else. So check all of that out. Also listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie over the weekend. On top of all of that, you definitely want to become a Patreon supporter.
Yeah.
You want to be a patron, and the reason for that, by the way, patreon.com/crime and sports. You want to get all the wonderful bonus episodes this week. And by the way, you get all of the bonus episodes, Crime and Sports, Small Town Murder, everything. So this week, Crime and Sports, Small Town Murder is going to be heavy backstory on the I-5 killer, Randall Woodfield, who's a horrible serial killer who also played briefly for the Green Bay Packers, and we covered back on that.
Drafted by
him. We have all sorts of background information. That's Crime and Sports. And on Small Town Murders bonus, we are going to do Thanksgiving murders. We're going to do when the holiday just was too much for people and they lost their goddamn shit.
You know, when you get upset, so did these people.
Live vicariously through these people who slaughtered their whole family or something.
You do it.
You do it. Yeah, live, just be like, that's what it would be like. Okay, well, the prison part's bad.
Yeah.
So there you go. Do all of that. Check it out. And you can find everything like that and get a shout out at the end of the show where Jimmy will butcher your name. All of that at patreon.com/CrimeandSports. And if you just want to have good karma and have your name mispronounced at the end of the show as one of our beloved producers, you can do that very easily over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That said, damn it, it's crazy. It's Thanksgiving. You're in the States, it's Thanksgiving. It's a holiday, so tell me who I am thankful for, Jimmy. It's very clear.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for these people. Tell me who they are.
This week's executive producers are Adam Sorber, Jordan Bennett, Amanda McPherson, Matthew Reed, Stacey Stevenson, Chris Nelson, Emily Roberts, Melissa Turner. Happy birthday also.
Hey.
Preston Letterman, Larry. It's Terry from Portland. Do you remember Terry?
Oh, I know Terry.
Terry.
Yeah, I know Terry. Terry's a good dude.
Miss you, Terry.
What's up, Terry?
Vanessa Castillo, Christina Hayden, Rio with no last name, Zach Buffalo, Tim Root, and John Bechanina.
Hey.
Other producers.
Jimmy's going to screw that up.
Other producers this week are Thomas Smith, Luane Al-Sheikh, Janet Zaleska, John Woodward, Teresa Harris, Reagan Shalkley, Amanda Knight, Jay Burks, Karen Parker, Susan Lackey-Wellman, Jamie with no last name, Peyton Meadows, Brian Killian, Ellie Zotz, I think, and happy birthday, Brett Killian, that's his brother. Brian
birthday.
Kinney also, Darren Pollock, Holly Harward. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'll never get through that one easy. Catherine Collado, Jason Toby, Michelle Malone Nickerson, Amy Clark, Jennifer Crump Lee, whatever. James Martyr, Jesse Taman, Colin Mulligan, Jamie Harder, that's Sarah Crawford, Wendy Madden Mulligan, Hawk Glandford, Hauke, I don't know. Rabbi, that's a rabbi, Shmololovich, I don't know why he makes me say that every week. Courtney Jaquay, I think, Lauren McCann, Madison with no last name, Jen Whalen, Mark Wismer, he donated both ways. Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Appreciate it, Mark.
Lauren Caton, Villa Cutinen. Never. I'll never get it. Ville. I don't know how to pronounce that. Whatever. Mandy Hagan. Corey.
Pronounce.
Corey Kitzmiller. Maddie West. Jessica Ruker. Barbara Howells. Jacqueline Woods. Cardiac with no last name. Josephine Kramer. Jen Murphy. Wyvern Workshop. Chelsea Morgan's friend Amanda. It's her birthday. Happy birthday. She got her into the show, so she gives a shit. Matt Inman. Clark Emery. Joseph. What is this? Sonia Lee Pointer, I think. Valerie Walsh, Melina Kuhn, Morgan Eberly. What is this? Donald Ward. I write terribly, and
That's
write
a simple name.
Yeah,
too.
but I put the two words together, so it looks like Donald Word.
Donald Word. We'll go that way. Donald Word.
Mike and Kimberly
Lord
Billingsley. Michelle Beatty. Malia Milne. Dan Daly. Kathy Jackson. Blair Hopwood. I'm a terrible. Janice Hill. Dora Rodis. WB. Jamel Thomas. Sergio Rutmayer. Jill Vita. Miami Dog Whisperer. He's from Miami, so he speaks to them in Miami, whatever.
Low tone.
Right.
Yeah.
Very nicely. Joe Slacker Gentry, Luke Allison, Martine Sesma, Marilyn Mitchell, Deborah Kim, Bailey Elizabeth Holland, Aaron Marsalis, Posey, that's the last name. Chris Lyle, James and Jimmy fan fiction. Well, isn't that like dirty? I don't know what that means. I hope it's not dirty.
I hope it's not
just
fan. Yeah, it's just maybe we're like saving the world or something.
Jessica Curtis Montgomery Mayo Jr., Amber Coburn, Cranky with no last name, Rosalba Avalos, Jen Greichner, Mike Shanahan, probably not.
I'm sure it is.
Julia Haley, Sarah Surridge, Keegan Caston, Fema Narcotic, Mouse with no last name, Brian Butcher, Brendan Abels, Jude Kendall, Natasha with no last name, Michael Abbott, Daniel with no last name, Sherry Drescher, Ashley Vio, Matthew. Nope, that's Marcia. What is that? Oh boy, I have terrible writing, man. Ashley Rain DiGiovanna. Catherine Claus, I think that's Santa's wife. Eric Lewis, Kevin, what did I do? Kivas Rosner. Mark Gutierrez, Alan Vio, Marie J. Preston, Kay Quapper. I don't know if that's a
Quapper.
Yeah. Tessa Hughes. Candace Buchan, Richard McCutcheon, Michael Berholst. Fuck. Kimberly Smith, Shelby Montana, what is this? Kelly Moore, Candace Johnson, Barb Esposito, Rachel Pietkowski, Deborah Townsend, Brian with no last name, Michelle Gay, Eric Downing, Devin Bronger, Sky with no last name, Emily with no last name, A, just the letter.
All right.
I don't know what it stands for. Dulcie Hall, Clifton Cunningham, Haley Dozier, Kendall Mack, Kyle Whitney, Caitlin Newkirk, John Melberg, Hunter Thompson, Jenna Crode,
sure.
Happy birthday. Yeah, probably not with an S. Probably Hunter F. Thompson.
Yeah.
Right. Jenna Crode's birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy
Thomas
birthday.
Crows, Julie Slawa. I gotta get better at this. Faye with no last name. Amber Farley, Madison Socha, Bobby Joe Chambly, Amy Pierce, Trevor Henson, Stephen Fan, Steve Dave McGregor. That's his first name. Steve Dave. Rebecca Kalp, Elizabeth Hawkins, Matthew Bezashore, Jessica McCullough, Erica Boudrialt, Amanda Hansen, Hannah Ledvina, Eric Barnes, Jessica Stevens, Leonard Patino, Stephen Bennis, Story with no last name, Hannah Burchell, John, Gerd, Trudy, okay, this is getting bad, Trudy Jones, I think, Patrick Everston, Crystal Salas, Emma with no last name, Melissa Rust, Allison Bennett, Laura McCabe, Raquel Escobedo, Emily Drenta, Lauren with no last name, Megan and Jay Cherharsky, Julie Duncan, Emily Merlino, Laura Stankunis, Zachary Hernandez, Nick with no last name, Taylor Apts, Jody McCall, Nikki Minicone, Carolyn Phillips, God damn it, Michael Hinchley, Renee with no last name, Maricela with no last name, Brian Lorette, Angie Adams, Serena Hammond, Condor, Federico, Nick Curtis, Imogen, Cassidy with no last name, Luke Rogers, Jacob Shaw, Gary McMichael, Aaron Thib, Tyler Catloric, Blake Moore, Le'Veon Bell, probably not, Kyle Davidi, Danielle Stuhlberg, Jeffrey Goen, Noreen Galindo.
He's down at the bottom of the page, everybody. He really writes small and struggles on these.
I can't. So the bottom of the page is a real pain in the ass because then my knuckles on the table.
Oh, I get it.
And the penmanship gets worse.
Are you trying to save paper? Skip 2 lines. Go to the next page.
Noreen Galindo, Susanna Lee, Jessica Hayden, Chantel Graham, Chase Veta.
Thank you, everyone, for donating so Jimmy can get more paper. Sorry.
Chase Webelhart. See, and then the hard names are at the bottom of the page, too. I don't know what the fuck. What am I doing? Top of the page here, and I still can't read it. Robin Riddle Barger, Tyler Burgett, Sarah Visk, Wesley Adams, Carla Broman, Megan Manning, Sierra Anseview. How do you have EEUW? That doesn't make any sense. JWF 968, Robert Johnson, Colleen Ferris, Katie Jeffs, probably Warren's daughter.
Yeah.
Aaron Heidebrecht, Aaron J, Emily Beckman, Adam Borsma, Nicolette Caravella, John Cameron, Aline Reed, Kimberly DiMartino, Shanna's friend Nicole. Oh, Shanann's friend Nicole from
okay.
Somebody broke the news to me that she has breast cancer, which makes it worse. It's hard to say she overreacted.
No, I get it.
Tina Crowley, Melissa Rafe Theodore, Tessa Douglas, Tamara with no last name, Magoo 365, which is basically me, Alex with no last name, Brian Fawcett, Kyle Beretta, Jennifer Beatles. Tessa Douglas, Jacob King, Justine Zuwalt, Whitney Flasca, Bree Romero, Mandy with no last name, Joanna Simley, Matt Robinson, Candace Wallace, Marley with no last name, Emily Murray, Mary Kramer, Hammer. Hammer, like Hammer Time.
Hey,
Robin Davison, what I do here? Rachel Barters, Anna with no last name, Jacob Hartwell, Lindsay Reed, Robin Kale, Beth Lemon, Lindsay, nope, that's Lisa, Chamberlain, I don't know. Jessica with no last name. Brandon Kroom. Loud Jeff instead of silent one. Lindsay. Nope, that's Whitney. Leonard. Amy Nickel. Andrew Jones. Heather Westerfield. Matthew McGeary. Travis with no last name. Kiri Cantil. Mark with no last name. Jen DiCimio. It's Italian. What are you going to do?
Mess it up.
Crystal Robinson, Christy Edwards, Zach Osei, Larea Roos. Her husband Levi had a birthday and I missed it. Happy birthday, Levi. Hang in there. It gets worse. Blake Lingman, Patrick Stocklin, Madison Clark, Conrad Ziamski, David Farley, Vanessa Headington, Brooke Trevino, Samantha Smith, Justin Vogler, Michelle Harward, Jenna Phelps, Sean Stanley, Laura Safford, I think, Alana and Mike Bouts, Brianna Wynn, Candace Wallace, Dave Gray, Tyler Richards, Harry Butts, probably not, Tyler Richards, Dustin Bear, maybe, Brittany Conger, Andy Davis, Lily Morph, I think, Renee Lynn, Lori Bobskill, Kayla Riddell, Todd Zillinger. Okay. Daniel Lopez, Tiffany Bourne, Robert Nicholas, Aaron Grumbach, Lindsay Krauf, Erica Chavez, Brooke Robinson, Amanda Larson, home stretch. Last page, Megan Lindaker. I don't know. Kobe with no last name. Rachel, what is this? Rachel, but what? Raquel, maybe? Rut Carlsdoder? None of those are right. Cassie Sawyer, Evelyn, and what is this? Evelyn Zamora Granola? I don't know.
That's amazing.
I have terrible penmanship. Angelina Marconi, Alicia Ybarra, Preston Letterman, Megan with no last name, Michael Bailey, Andrew Meismer, Nadia Ashur, Robert Sherwatka, Megan with no last name, Ruga, what is this, Pungo? God damn it, I don't know if that's a P or an R. Caitlin and Josh.
One or the other.
Doxy, Kennedy Seckman, Stephen Giovanna, Daner, Stephanie Fleming, Christopher Gales, Michelle Lopez, Becca Pitts, Sydney Rains Pratt, Dominic Brunson, Renee with no last name, Tega Bernstein, Logan Fisher, Tamsin Hunter, Michael Keenan, Matthew Moon, Terrence Clark, Sadie's Winsheimer, Max Price, Melissa Perrin, Haven Bell, C. Figler, Mike Loracock,
Mike Loricock.
James with no last name. Michelle Ryder. Axel Amadeus. That's the person's real name. That's
really?
Fucking rad.
Wow.
Chantel with no last name. Nicole Sereda. Krista Gilson. Bob Menzel. Megan Saunders. Heather Nelson. Isabel Orozco. Kevin Luss, Tori Bernhardt, Joe Cordes, Katie Hanks, Joshua Perkins, Oilfield, Colorado Chris. It's fucked up. Myra with no last name, what is this, Bab Raver? What? Can't be right. Ian with no last name, Tay Hannah, Jillian Loslow, Desiree, no, that's Daisy Ray Hayes, Jenna Sarver, Kathia Alvarenga, Courtney Graham, Michelle Pittman, Vanessa Trujillo, Daniel Hare, Jessica Latz, Tanya Alboni. Oh boy. Kristen Downey, Z with no last name, Madison Hanson, Katie Roby, Amanda Mitchell, Nick Jubry, Amanda Mitchell, Nick Bell Matt Bach, well, I apologize, Julie Farga, Andrea Hartle, Mia with no last name, Dustin Henry, Kim Petherick, Jose Santiago, Shanna Ferguson, Amy Deans, and Cassie Sawyer. And if you guys think that's fucked up, if I print them out, it would be way worse because at least I've read them once. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Extra Thanksgiving thank you. extra everything. Thank you so much for everything.
So much gravy on it.
Yes, so much. Just deep, thick gravy. We really do appreciate everything you do for us. Everybody does for us. We can't live without you guys, honestly.
Truly.
You make the show. You make this a thing. Yeah. Especially this year, we couldn't go on the road at all.
Right.
So, I mean, like a lot of people, if you maybe worked for a restaurant or you do things like that, we basically took, that was our main chunk of our income and just wiped out clean.
Right.
Just absolutely gone this year, which is brutal. And everybody here you've made it so the show can go and it doesn't matter because you guys support us.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for that. Honestly, you save our lives and you save the show. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate you. Jimmie, where can they find you so you can tell them how much you appreciate them?
They know plenty. It's fine. I'm just very grateful this week, and as every week, but more so this week because I'm not going to see my fucking family this week. This is if it's wiped out all my money, it's also wiped out my fucking ability to see family. I'm not going to go do it, and I'm thankful for you guys. So thanks for being with us on this ride. Where can they tell you how thankful they are?
You know my name, and you can copy and paste it. It's long.
That's where we are.
You'll find it. We're on there somewhere. You know how to find people on social media.
We're on the internet.
That said, hope you enjoyed it. No, we weren't people thought we were going to take this week off. No, you'll be off. No, we don't care if it's a holiday.
No.
You might need this extra if it's a holiday. That's the point.
What's a holiday?
Yeah, you extra is what you need with the holidays. So thank you, everybody, very, very much. Yeah. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus